It's that.
Cynthia Nixon's back again? Oh, wait, she's doing a hunger strike. Hopefully she'll, oh, well, no, I can't say that now that we're live.
Hey, Rob's here. Let's start the show.
Yeah.
That's the wrong
That was a great intro.
It's the wrong
one.
show.
Right to the point.
Holy shit, he's back.
Take two. Y'all infidels were burning witches tonight. Not even Smoking the Bear is going to be able to save your ancestors this time, you stupid moron.
With the Band-Aid. That was good. I'm sorry, that was fucking good. Anyways.
Well, that's my job as a woman, I think, first and foremost. And then as a writer, I got to maintain some level of like, making sure that, your place.
Everything that they've done since claiming the PS5 is for hardcore gamers. It's just simply appeal to the casuals.
That's about it. Follow me on Twitter. Preserve film, just like preserving video games. I don't know.
Hunter! What's up? In the White House? Seriously?
Well, Marvel and what Stan Lee, I think, I don't know if it was genius or laziness. It's like, we'll just put them all in one city. We won't even make up a fictionalist and we'll just use new.
Here the night, what you got coming up for tomorrow?
I'm perfectly sober.
Lies.
Thank you.
Are you home? Do you have children? Must not you be their hope? Are there future generations from all of us who have failed them?
And the mom shaming, a term typically used to highlight harsh judgment of birthing people.
Who wrote this shit? Who wrote this shit?
Just me? Okay, fine, whatever. I didn't even want to rave. Whatever.
Hey, episode 67.
You good, brother?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It seems like I'm a little
not
bit
cool enough to go to rave.
Silence, Pete! I'm talking. If it feels like I'm a little bit beat up right now, it's because I literally just got back from the gym like 20 minutes before we went live, and I did like 3 miles on the elliptical, and then I had to go up 3 flights of stairs as well. So yeah, I probably won't be doing that again. I probably won't be doing that again, but we're here, episode 60, 76. I don't know. There's numbers, and we're here for Tuesday night bar podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What kind of elliptical did you fucking run on, man? Jeez, it like jerkied your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get like one of those Digimon soundtracks going, and you're like, I'm going to the digital world? You just kept on running.
No, I just watched Frontier, and it just like literally killed my brain.
Just trying to get away from Frontier.
There's probably a girl on his brain. So.
Oh.
No, not this time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Not this time. But hey, everyone, we're here. Everyone's here. There's a bunch of people who are here. We'll start off with Pete. Pete's back. How you doing, Pete?
Howdy. I saw that there would be much arguing about Doctor Who, and I still feel like I have the need to vent. So I was kindly allowed to hop on. But hello, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to see you this Tuesday.
There'll be plenty of venting on Doctor Who tonight. I can guarantee that, because I know there's a few people who want to get some stuff off their chest, and pretty sure one of those people is Orange Hat. How you doing there, Orange?
I'm doing good, man. How are you? Been good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No more spiders dealing with this time around.
No more spiders. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. You can still feel them crawling on you occasionally.
Occasionally, yes.
Like right now.
Mm-hmm. Like
Shut up!
Right
Don't start that.
Cassie's here, looking like either a Unabomber or a poker player. How you doing today, Cassie?
Yeah,
man.
chilling. Yeah, why not? I have multiple specializations, I guess. But good to be here with you all tonight, as always.
Rob's here. I can't remember the last time Rob was here, but he's here tonight. How you doing, Rob?
I'm good. It's been like a month. So I'm going to Nashville this weekend for the umpteenth time that I'm announcing it, but I'm excited about that.
Don't get shot.
Yeah, there was
he's going to Nashville, not Memphis.
No, but there was an Uber driver who
yeah.
got shot, and all the comments were like, "Yeah, but it was drug territory." So come on. And Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce apparently going to Nashville too. So I'm like, can I just have a few days and watch my football team lose at home for the first time, please? Thank you.
Nope.
No.
Anybody have that on their 2023 planner?
Maybe you can run into Taylor Swift at Miranda Lambert's bar. I don't even know if it's still open. It opened a couple years ago. It might be closed now. I haven't been there in a couple of years, so it's
Kid Rock's bars there. I saw it this summer.
Mm-hmm. Johnson's here. CS Johnson.
Yep.
Can't see you, but I know you're here. So how you doing?
Yep. Well,
I hear somebody talking in the background, but it's not no one who's on screen. So
Sorry, it's me. He's loud.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And then also Cider's here. How you doing today, Cider?
I'm fine. The only one here wants to rave, but whatever.
Fine, you can get your little raid out.
No, it's over. It's over. Just move on.
Okay, well.
You don't want to start with your like.
No. He had his chance. It's over.
It's over.
Ruin the moment.
Joining us in our people in the chat who are here with us tonight. Top Dog is early for this discussion here, saying, what question for you guys? Do you guys prefer the Wii or the Switch? I'm going with the Wii. I'm going to be straightforward with you. I have not had a Nintendo related gaming console since the GameCube, so I'm the wrong person to ask about this question, but you can go ahead and ask what you guys think.
Yeah, I like the
Neither.
Wii.
They both suck.
For the Wii. So yeah, just out of nostalgia though.
My kids.
I wish there was more motion controls these days. They kind of left that behind for the most part.
Well, I mean, the Switch technically has motion Joy-Con, so it's still a thing a little bit.
Yeah, but you're not
Super gimmicky
standing
on
on
the Wii.
top of a Wii board, waggling your hands back and forth like a chicken for 20
For the
minutes as
better-
part of an exercise on the Wii Sports
while
thing.
you
Trying to get carpal tunnel.
You play
while
like
you
Wii.
accidentally punch your 4-year-old son in the face playing boxing.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Wii Sports tennis attachments you could see at the dollar store all the time? You could buy at the dollar store, and they were just, oh yeah. You like locked in the Wii controller like it was a magazine into an AR-15, and you just plug that sucker right in there. But the fun part is that it would slide off.
We actually
like
have
tennis
that
racketing
attachment.
around, right? You're doing your tennis racket thing, and you swing back to do it. There goes the Wiimote. Woo! Bang! Right through the wall.
Let's not ignore the reality.
Huh?
Let's not ignore the reality that the Wii was just the most casual of casual systems. People's grandparents had them, motherfucker, which led to an endless amount of garbage ass shovelware I'd see for fucking years at GameStop. Trash.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but so my mom bought one. Like this is like what, over a decade ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I did bowl a game of 300 game on Wii bowling, so I feel very proud about that fact.
Well done.
I forget what exercise game, or Wii Fitness, I think it was called. But she got like the board, and that tells you your weight, and it never got used. It got used like twice, and then it was just
I was
like
undefeated in
device.
Wii boxing.
No,
It's a device that tells you you're fat. Of course, it's not going to get used a lot.
I was
It
undefeated.
judges
in
you
Wii
on
boxing.
Japanese standards. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Doba Pet's here, joining us here tonight. Good buddy Neil Zoic is here as well, saying, fun question. Which film has similar elements to each other that you would rather watch, The Last Samurai or Dances with Wolves? I gotta be honest with you, I don't think I've seen either one of these movies in at least like 20 years, so I have no real recollection of either one, but I guess it's for you guys.
I've seen them both in the last 5 years, so
Last
I would
Samurai
say
is freaking great.
Yeah, I would say Dances with Wolves. I actually think it's kind of a great movie, and that's like I was like ready to hate it because it beat Goodfellas for Best Picture, and then I watched it and was like, God damn it, it's good.
You can go visit part of the set, the fort they built for that movie. They just kept around. It's a tourist attraction out there in the Black Hills. You can get. There used to be you could get a nickel and you could get all you could eat pancakes. I doubt it's still in the nickel now, but yeah, it's a fun little tourist attraction.
Gives a whole new meaning to acting strange for change. But Neil has a bonus question for us here. He says, which B movie shark film would you rather watch, Sharknado or Deep Blue Sea?
Deep Blue Sea wasn't a B movie. That had a theatrical release.
Yeah, no, that's like a studio release shark attack movie, or I don't know what you'd call it. It's far-fetched like sci-fi plot or whatever, or like sharks are made even more killer. So that was kind of like dumb, but yeah, it was a studio release, and I definitely prefer that over. Like, I won't watch Sharknado. I've never seen it. I'm not gonna watch it.
I watched all 6 of those Sharknado movies. My mom was absurdly entertained by them.
Jesus.
There's 6 of them. Jesus Christ. Vania's joining us here tonight.
There's a shark exorcist. No, really.
Yeah, there
it's
is
real.
a shark. There is a ghost shark movie too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm more for Rob on this one. I'll just put it that way.
I would prefer Deep Blue Sea though out of those two. I'm sorry, I had to answer that.
Yeah. Popovich is a sentimental old man. End of story. It's like, yeah, we'll get to him later on because there's definitely some things I want to rant about that. So old bastard. Kabuto's joining us here tonight. Spencer's joining us. Who else do we have on here? We have Duke Nukem joining us here in the chat tonight as well. You'll see Cassie and Rob are also in the chat. Who else do we got with us? We got Drax the Clown joining us here tonight. Go to Fine Turn. Put a chick in it and make her gay. It's sad that it's literally gotten to the point where this is it used to be a meme like for like a minute, and now it's just becoming Disney's like future plan for all of their
template.
Make it learn and get.
Yeah. God. Yeah, we'll talk about CMPP here in a second. Just want to give a quick shout out to everyone else here. Attackus Jones also joining us here says that while like Last Samurai, Dances with Wolves is overall superior film if he was given the choice here, and I guess he's also going with Sharknado for his over the top craziness over Deep Blue Sea. Was Deep Blue Sea the one with Samuel L. Jackson?
Yes.
Yeah, he
got
got
eaten by a shark. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I can dig that one too.
Get this. He also left the audio commentary right after his character died. He didn't stick through it. He's like, yeah, that's as far as I'm doing in this audio commentary. My character's dead. I got nothing else to say. So
go for it. I mean, they pay me anyway, right? just left. Top Dog says, will you be bringing back your retro series? Maybe in the future, but not immediately. So we'll work on something in the future. But I do have something regarding the channel that I'll make an announcement about at the end of the show, but that's coming up towards the end here. Yeah, the old boy, the guy bitched about the Octagon coming back to WWE. Yeah, we'll get to him in just a second here. Duke Nukem says that he has a Wii smacking people in the face. Or remember when it first came out, a lot of people were breaking their brand new, much more expensive HD TVs at the time, and that was a whole thing too as well. Yeah, those were good times. Those were very, very, very good times. Yeah, Shark ate me. Who else do we have here? DK saying CM Punk hates your kids. So it certainly does, especially if they're not born yet.
Yikes.
Yikes. Neozoic says here as well. So I guess we should go ahead and get started with what everyone was talking about over the weekend, and that was the return of CM Punk to the WWE. So I guess you give a little bit of context of this whole story. CM Punk quit WWE nearly 10 years ago. I got into it with Triple H, who's now running the company right now. But he got into it with Triple H because he didn't want to face Triple H at WrestleMania. He thought that in his own words, Triple H needed him more than he needed Triple H. So he left the company, left wrestling for about 7-8 years entirely until a little company called AEW comes around. He comes back 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago. Everyone's back on the CM Punk bandwagon. Everyone's talking about how great this is. He did a promo saying how WWE made him sick and that he's finally back to real wrestling and really just did everything he possibly could to bury that company. Well, the problem is that CM Punk is such a miserable piece of crap that it didn't take very long for him to burn his bridge with his new company. Within 1 year, he had got into a fist fight with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks backstage, was led to him being suspended for multiple months. That obviously fractured their relationship big time with multiple guys in the locker room. Now, he did eventually come back several months later. He even got his own show, which is still going on right now, even though CM Punk's no longer a part of it. But of course, a few months after that, he gets into another physical altercation with Jungle Boy, Luke Perry's son, on the show, and this leads to him eventually being fired from AEW entirely. Apparently, there was some sort of settlement behind the scenes, and NDAs were signed and whatnot. But now here we are, just literally 3 months after that fight occurred, and CM Punk is back in WWE. He's pretending like everything is great and everything's going to be A-okay. Here's a little video from last Saturday night at Survivor Series. This is the only video that I can show from WWE that won't get the channel immediately blocked. So here's CM Punk returning for the Chicago crowd, his hometown of Chicago, who worships him like a god. So you guys pretty much get the idea. CM Punk is back. He's back in the WWE, and the fans are once again super, super excited about it. Well, some of the fans are, because you have the Punk fans who have basically worshipped this guy as a god ever since his pipe bomb promo in 2011. So in their mind, CM Punk can do no wrong. You have the AEW fans who clearly now don't like Punk anymore because he got into 2 fist fights backstage with their talent, and now it's back with the rival company. And Spencer had asked earlier what exactly was the fist fight about. So if you go back to last year, it was I want to say August, I want to say this thing happened right after a pay-per-view. CM Punk had just won the AEW championship. He goes and does a post conference with Tony Khan, and he basically just throws like everyone under the bus. He threw the Young Bucks under the bus. He threw Kenny Omega under the bus. Adam Page, he threw him under the bus, basically saying that they're a bunch of immature children, that they couldn't draw money in Reseda. They buried everything about them. So of course, after the fact, all the guys were like, okay,
I mean, he was honest.
Well, he goes up there and he's like, okay, so clearly you have a problem. Let's go confront him. So they go backstage to confront CM Punk, and CM Punk, according to his side of the story, he thought that they were getting ready to jump him, so he decided that he was going to swing first, and then all of a sudden it got into a kerfuffle. He ended up biting Kenny Omega at one point during this whole thing, or Kenny Omega bit him, or some weird thing happened behind the scenes, and that whole thing blew up to the point where, like I said, they didn't talk to each other anymore. They didn't want to reconcile, so they just put CM Punk on his own show several months later. Then what happened afterwards, that even after this whole thing happened, they tried to move on business as usual. And then Jack Perry, Luke Perry's son, Jungle Boy, apparently Punk had called him out. He was a spot that he wanted to do in AEW where he wanted to go through like real windshield glass or use real glass during a match. Punk told him he was an idiot, don't do that. Perry apparently got a little butthurt about that. So during his match that was completely unrelated to CM Punk, there was a spot where he does like a suplex through a car windshield, and then he smacks the windshield of the car and says, "See, that's real glass, cry me a river," which is obviously a direct reference to Punk. So after his match is over, Punk confronts him immediately backstage and goes, "Bro, what the fuck did I just tell you?" And then, of course, that led to a fight. Tony Khan was apparently around the area when the fight happened, and even went as far to claim that he feared for his life when Punk went after Jack Perry, and that was what led to his firing. This was just literally 3 months ago, and now CM Punk is back in the WWE, so that's how we got here. But there's a little bit more in between here that we need to talk about. This is a guy, CM Punk, who for the last decade has literally blamed WWE for all of his problems in his life. He blamed them for almost killing him. At one point, he said that he got misdiagnosed in a staph infection and that WWE's incompetent doctors almost killed him. He said that they fired him on his wedding day when he got married to AJ Lee, that he got officially fired, even though technically he quit like 7 months before that. Then they officially fired him after the fact. He's said that this place made him sick and that he's never going to want to go back. He said that it is not real wrestling. He's buried everyone around the block. He buried Triple H, told Triple H that he didn't want to work with him. He's buried Vince McMahon. He's buried them 10 times over. There's plenty of people in WWE working backstage who in real life do not like CM Punk. One, because he's a douche. Two, because he just got into a fist fight a couple of years ago with their friends in the other company. And then three, like I said, he's basically burnt his bridge with every single wrestling promotion he has ever been a part of in his life. And now he's coming back to WWE, and we're supposed to believe like, oh, things are gonna work out this time. So they're pushing this whole thing. Oh, he's gonna have a match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. They're gonna main event night one. But I think most people are sitting here looking at this whole situation. They're just going, okay, how long is it going to be until there's another backstage incident with CM Punk where he's going to get into it with either Roman or Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn or Seth Rollins? Who is he going to get into it this time where he's going to have another backstage kerfuffle where he's going to blame all his problems on everyone else who's not named Phil Brooks? It's like, how long is this going to take before this falls apart as well? You have that side of it. People are apparently excited to see him back. They want to see him work Mania and Rumble and all this stuff. Cassie, I'll start this one off with you. What is your immediate reaction to CM Punk's return to the WWE? Do you think it's going to last very long, or do you think this is going to be another short-lived welcome back?
Oh, it's definitely going to be short. Honestly, I'm interested in a sense of I want to see the disaster ensue. Like that's what I'm interested in seeing. I mean, it's one of those things where I just don't think that either side is the good guy when it comes to this. Like, do I think that CM Punk doesn't take WWE or even AEW seriously? Clearly he doesn't. I mean, but then when you look at AEW and what they do, it's like, yeah, why would you sit there and take them seriously after freaking John Moxley got dropped on his head like 2 or 3 times and your ref doesn't step in? Like, are you kidding me? I wouldn't take this. I wouldn't take that establishment seriously at all. After I saw that, I'm like, yeah, these guys are a complete fucking joke. And it's like, I kind of have to side with CM Punk on that scenario. I mean, I think that he definitely overstepped his bounds, especially in that interview. So I'm not here to defend him, because he's definitely done some fuck shit in his own right. But seeing how much of a dog shit organization AEW's been, since its inception, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't take it seriously either. I don't take it seriously now. And then him going back to WWE, I mean, WWE's a joke too, you know, like, and he's been very honest. He's like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. And the one thing I will say about CM Punk is that he knows how to maximize his money with doing as little as fucking possible. So, hey, man, people at this point already know what CM Punk is all about. They've seen his history. At this point, if you choose to let him into your company, that's your choice. And you can't really blame CM Punk for being CM Punk because everyone knows what CM Punk's all about. At this point, you either own it or you stay away from it. That's what it is.
Yep. And somebody had brought up the fact that I completely forgot all about this. He at one point he even threw Cole Cabana under the bus. Keep in mind, Cole Cabana wasn't even like in the company at the time. Like he was away from the company, and he just like randomly threw him under the bus. Talked about he shares a bank account with his mom and stuff like that. Like Cole Cabana never said anything about him whatsoever. But because Punk was pissed off about friends who basically talking about the Young Bucks here and Adam Page, who are friends with Cole Cabana, because he was pissed off at them, he decided that he was gonna simultaneously throw Cole Cabana under the bus as well. So it was a mess from start to finish. The second he got there, even Spencer said, "This is middle school like mess." Yeah, it's middle school mess, except for everyone is in their mid to late 40s. That's pretty much what we're talking about here.
You know what's sad? Freaking CM Punk at 45 years old, barely has wrestled in years, mind you. And he is a pain in the ass. He's a problem child. He's still more of a draw than these fucking loser ass young motherfuckers. At 45 years old and being the low down dirty skunk that he is, he's still more of a draw than these piece of shit young wrestlers, man. They honestly, these wrestlers are fucking dime a dozen.
Here it is. Here's the thing. I don't want to sit here and be like pretend like CM Punk is this mega draw, because here's what it really is.
He's a glorified mid-carder. I'm not here boasting him up. I just think everyone's pathetic.
Like I said, CM Punk has made a lot of money on this legion of hardcore wrestling fans who have been around since Ring of Honor, and he has literally become their god in their life. Like, he can do no wrong, no matter how many times he's the common denominator in the problem. They'll always find a way to blame somebody else for his issues. When he left WWE the first time, it was Vince and Triple H's fault. When he goes to AEW, it's still WWE's fault. And then when he starts having problems with the people around him, it's like, oh, this is the Young Bucks' fault. Oh, this is Kenny Omega's fault. Oh, it's Adam Page's fault. Oh, it's Jack Perry's fault. So now all of a sudden he's left now, and now these guys be like, oh yeah, it's all AEW's fault because they're just a bunch of children. But things will happen differently now that Triple H is in charge, like literally rewriting history. They're trying to make it seem like that Vince was the one who didn't want him to come back, and Triple H was going to open him back with open arms, completely rewriting the fact that it was WrestleMania 30, the Royal Rumble a few months ago before he quit. The pitch was made to him to have a match with Triple H at that year's WrestleMania. Punk basically told Triple H to go F himself, that he didn't want to do that match because it wasn't going to be in the main event, and he wanted to be in the main event. He thought he deserved that, so he left. The whole brings up why he left in the first place, because he got into it with Triple H, and that's why he missed that year's WrestleMania. That's why Triple H had to wrestle Daniel Bryan instead, and that's what led to his just complete 10 years of worth of failures. I mean, I haven't even talked about his UFC run because there's really no point in talking about it here at this point, but it's just like over and over and over again, it's just, it's just one problem after another, and now you brought a guy in who, keep in mind, a year ago, you guys were calling a cancer because you knew that he was toxic to the locker room. Now you're going to bring him in, and now everyone in the backstage has to pretend like they like this guy. They can get along with him because, well, Triple H wants him to be at WrestleMania, so I guess we'll have to put in our boo-boo face and pretend like this whole thing is going to work. But for me, I say after WrestleMania, I don't see this lasting very long. I think that one way or another, he'll be gone very shortly after WrestleMania 40. He'll keep it together for a couple of months to pretend like everything's fine, but after he gets his shine, after he gets his moment, I think he's done. I don't see this lasting very long at all.
As an outside observer, someone who doesn't watch wrestling but kind of saw the reaction on Twitter as it was happening with CM Punk, it's very weird because it's like wrestling seems to, like, the biggest draws, the biggest stars, and I'm not necessarily saying CM Punk it, but like The Rock, or even who came back, Randy Orton also came back during service, and it's like it's these guys that have been out of it a while, or like they get the biggest draw, they get the biggest like excitement out of the fans, and it's like, first of all, are fans aware of this? Aren't they aware that like the best days are behind them? That like these are the diminishing returns of what's left over? Because that to me is what it seems like. They're excited about CM Punk. Why? Cassie said he hasn't wrestled in years. Is he like? I mean, is he injured? Like, is he more of a face? Like who's going to be like Triple H is at this point? or is he going to actually be like engaged in matches and stuff?
I mean, who
Probably
knows?
hiding
Keep
from
this.
the Japanese with those tattoos.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, like another thing with Punk is that even when he was in AEW, especially that last year or so, he was hurt multiple times. He had spent, like he got hurt in the press conference that got him into that big fight in the first place. Then he got hurt, I think, like right afterwards as well. So he's been having injury troubles as well. Like I said, he's 44 years old. I think he's turning 45 next year. He's not a young guy. His body seemingly is not holding up very well at the moment. So for anyone to think that this is going to be like a 3 or 4 year ordeal where he's going to come back and it's going to be CM Punk of old, it's like, I don't know what to tell you here at this point. I've been calling these people delusional for quite some time, but this is essentially what we have here in pro wrestling. You have one mark company run by Tony Khan, then you have another mark company run by Triple H, and that's pretty much what wrestling is in 2023. It's just a couple of marks trying to outmark each other. So that's all I can say here. Just real quick here, I just wanted to play this. This is from last year, so keep in mind this is about say 15 months ago or so. This is what literally caused the first fight and kind of Punk's downfall in the company. Here was this little post conference that he did, like I said, burying guys who were in the company. Keep in mind the guy on the right next to him, that's Tony Khan. If you don't know, he's the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, so he's a billionaire, by default, and he's the guy who's running the show at AEW right now. He has like the biggest dweeb who I've ever seen in my entire life, but he's the guy running that show, and this is the comments that led to Punk's downfall in the other company. Keep in mind, just 15 months ago.
Oh, wow. Well, that makes two of us. My point is, if you fancy yourself a journalist, even if it's for the silly world of professional wrestling, and you have journalistic integrity, people who report things mostly that are bullshit and slanderous lies against myself, if you are friends with somebody, you blew my spot. If you're not friends with them, I apologize. But you should probably disclose who you're friends with. I haven't had anything to do with Scott Colton in almost a decade. Probably wanted nothing to do with him even longer than that. It's fucking unfortunate that I have to come up here and speak on this when I'm on my time and this is a fucking business. Why I'm a grown-ass adult man and I decide not to be friends with somebody is nobody else's fucking business. But my friends, if I fall backwards, will catch me. Scott Colton, I felt, never would have. My problem was I wanted to bring a guy with me to the top that did not want to see me at the top. Okay? You call it jealousy, you call it envy, whatever the fuck it is. My relationship with Scott Colton ended long before I paid all of his bills. I have every receipt. I have every invoice. I have every email. I have the email where he says, and I quote, "I agree to go our separate ways. I will get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore." That's an email that I have. The only reason the public did not see is because when I finally had to countersue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact. And as soon as we discovered that fact and we subpoenaed old Marcia, he sent the email, "Oh, can we please drop all this?" Now, it's
Man's
2022.
blood, talk
I haven't
about
been friends
emails.
with this guy since
It's-
at least
yeah.
2014.
It's unreal.
Keep in mind, the setup here is that he just won the AEW championship. So he just won the wrestling championship in his promotion. And he's spending this entire press conference burying a guy who's not actively with the company, who he hasn't been associated with 10 years, because dirt sheet writers were saying that he was the reason why Colt Cabana hadn't came back in the first place. So now he's spewing out all of his butthurt against everyone who's against him, or it's the media people, the people behind the scenes, other wrestlers. And this is why those guys confronted him in the first place, because he took it upon himself to do this and make the whole thing about himself rather than, trying to put over the company.
2013. And the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't fucking manage a target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him, want nothing to do with him, do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is fucking embarrassing. And if y'all are at fault, fuck you. If you're not, I apologize. But what did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb fuck like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and fucking go into business for himself. For what? What did I do, Dave? What did I ever do? Didn't do a goddamn thing. What's your name, sir? Fuck the Pittsburgh Penguins. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
So yeah. So
what was this guy even talking about?
I don't think he knows.
Like I said, he looks. This is CM Punk's MO. Like he for the last decade, over the last decade, he has made a career of just being the guy who bitches and whines and complains about how everyone's against him, how he's always held back. He did this in WWE. He used his bitching and his complaining in WWE to become a top star for a couple of years. But then, of course, he left that company. Now he goes on to AEW. Within 1 year being in that company, he's doing the same thing. Now he's the victim again, and now he's been gone from that company. Now he's going back to the company that he left in the first place.
The core
So
issue
he's
with CM
Amber
Punk,
Heard of wrestling.
Well, the core issue with CM Punk as a person is that he thinks wrestling as a whole, from every facet, from the fans to the journalism to the wrestlers themselves to the promotions to the owners, he thinks it all entirely is a fucking joke. The problem is that CM Punk is good at nothing else. He tried doing film, he tried UFC, everything else that he has attempted, he's been absolutely dog shit at. So it's like, you think that wrestling is this joke, but that's the only thing you've been relatively decent at your entire career. So that kind of just makes you the joke with it. He hasn't come to that conclusion yet, but that's the reality of his situation.
Yeah. And like I said, now he's back. He cut some disingenuous promo yesterday talking about, oh, I'm home and I've changed and blah blah blah. It's like no one's buying it at all. So like I said, we're just at this point, we're just waiting to see what's going to be the next public blow up with CM Punk, because we know that it's coming. A lot of people are noting that, you know, last week there was a couple of blow ups with some people who are behind the scenes, whatnot. So you see Seth Rollins here, when Punk was making his entrance, he was flipping him off, telling him to go F himself. Seemed like he wanted to fight him. I think this part of it was pretty much like a work. However, I do believe Seth Rollins legitimately does not like CM Punk, because like I said, he's coming into a company now where all those guys he just ran down in that video we were talking about, well, most of their friends are in WWE. So you're talking about guys like Rollins, guys like Owens, guys like Sami Zayn, who you just spent the last year and a half running down, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, and Colt Cabana, and now you have to go to the other company and essentially make I guess face with their friends who probably don't like you, who have publicly stated they don't like you, but now that Triple H has brought him back, they have to pretend like they like this guy for the sake of professionalism. But I'm pretty sure deep down inside, a lot of these guys don't want him in the company, because even they know it's only a matter of So once again, the most interesting story in professional wrestling has absolutely nothing to do with the show itself. The show itself, it sucks. It's 3 hours of absolutely unwatchable garbage, but there's more interesting things going on behind the scenes than on camera. And that's pretty much what wrestling has been for the last 20 years.
It's a soap opera.
Mm-hmm. It's a soap opera where the most interesting storyline isn't even on TV. That's
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not even wrestling anymore. It's literally just fucking drama. Let's have somebody sleep together. Drama. Knock up your baby mama. Drama.
I mean,
that's a fucking soap opera.
But to be fair, wrestling,
stepmother isn't on this.
You know, people say, you know, Attitude Era was like peak, like that time. There was a bunch of drama behind the scenes, like that's what drove the storylines. That's what does drive the story. There's fucking marks in wrestling now that wrestle 40, 50 minute, 8-star matches, whatever the fuck. And guess what? It's meaningless because there's no true feud there. These people are willing to destroy their bodies to try and earn someone's motherfucking respect. And it's like, nobody cares. Like, it's not fun because there is no real, like, if you go to AEW, there's no real drama. There's just people just killing themselves in the ring. And it's like, I don't respect this. This is not what I watch wrestling for. If I'm going to watch something like that, I'm going to watch boxing. I'm going to watch UFC. I'm not going to watch WWE to watch people kill themselves.
Yeah, to be fair, it's from the perspective of a 10-year-old boy, because that's like when I last watched wrestling. But I just feel like there were a lot more stars. Like there were a lot more prominent. The talent was a lot more prominent, whether it was Mankind, Kane, The Undertaker, Stone Cold, Generation X. I mean, just you could go on and on and on through each, even the divisions. You had the hardcore belt, the lightweight belt. You had the intercon. All these different draws, really. And so and different tag teams, Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys. The Dudley Boys. I could keep going, but it's just like the talent was so much greater. It seems like, again, I can't speak definitively, but just from what I hear from Jacob, what I hear from other people that still watch it, it's just like it doesn't seem like it nearly has the talent it used to.
Yeah. And I'll say this one before we move on to our next topic here. This is kind of the big problem. A couple people in the chat did mention this earlier. This is kind of where we're at right now, because neither company really knows how to actually make stars, which means that make them interesting enough where as a character that you actually want to see more of what they do, like on the show. Their only option now is, we need to sign a guy from like another company. So let's sign this guy from WWE, or this guy from AEW, or let's sign this guy from Japan or Mexico, because that would be like new and exciting.
Mexico.
And that's essentially like all you got now. It's like whenever you sign somebody new from another company, or someone like Randy Orton, who's been on the shelf like the last year and a half, finally comes back. Like that's the only thing that makes people really interested in WWE, because we're in a honeymoon period now where everyone's all excited because, Punk is back in WWE. Okay, that's great. 3 weeks from now, what's going to be the story? Is anyone still going to care about this, or is everyone going to move on? Because, he came back, he had the big return, but now the story sucks now because the show sucks and we don't really care anymore. So, off watching football again, back to watching football. By the way, that game last Monday between the Bears and the Vikings, I don't know if you guys realize this. Football, it sucks ass this year.
Yeah.
I mean, how in the world do
this
you...
year? Okay, yeah, sure.
How in the hell do you have... How do you have 4 interceptions and still almost win a football game? How does that happen?
Okay, you're dealing with Justin Fields, first of all, at quarterback, and the Bears, one of the worst teams in the league. And the Vikings don't have Kirk Cousins, so they have Josh Dobbs, who doesn't know the expanded playbook. So it's a terrible matchup. That Eagles-Bills game was the best game of the year. So I mean, I echo that. As a huge fan of the NFL, I will say it's been a down year. And the fucking officiating has been atrocious. I mean, across the league, it doesn't matter what game it is. So I agree with you there, but that Eagles-Bills game was really good.
I mean, I've even seen normies now complaining about the fact that, wow, football has been like really bad, especially this week. I think was a good example of that, because my mom was texting me about, like, I don't think anyone has scored like 20 points in like any game on the red zone so far. That's how bad that this is going. I don't know if it's the offensive or if it's the refs, but it's like really, really bad football being played right now. And
I was the one ranting about how many great matchups we've been robbed of just because Aaron Rodgers took a L for the year in the 4th snap into a game, but everyone was looking at me like I'm the crazy one. Yes, we're being robbed of great matches for many reasons. Old motherfuckers that are the only ones that could throw the football getting injured, to the refs being absolute god awful. Yeah, it's unwatchable in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, I just literally during everybody's spiel remembered why I stopped wrestling or stopped watching wrestling. Because back during that time, they were doing all this freaking lazy ass hype, and then there was no freaking event. I mean, there was a few Monday Night Raws where they had a setup for an event, but then they stopped because their 3 hours were up and nobody freaking wrestled, and it's like, why am I still watching this? So that's one. Yeah, I just remembered that. And now all this stuff, it's like, fucking wrestling's fake. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, DK brings up a good point here, and this is the one I'll leave up on. There is rumors right now that Raw could be going to TNT, or that Warner Bros. Discovery could be making a deal for Raw. I don't see it happening because if they do that, then like I said, that pretty much means that AEW is dead, especially on Turner, which would be a brutal decision for them to make. And then the other problem is that I think WWE is looking for like $300 to $400 million a year for Monday Night Raw, that terrible 3-hour show, and I don't think that Warner Brothers has that money to give that deal. Now I could be wrong, but I just don't see with everything that they've been doing over the last couple of years them shelling out $400 million for a pro wrestling show. It just doesn't seem like a wise move on there, man. But then again, they did hire James Gunn, so who knows at the end of the day. So I will go ahead and jump over to this story here, because I know a lot of you guys want to rant about this one. I know this is the one that Pete came here for. So let's talk about Doctor Who for a second, because Doctor Who made a whole bunch of really stupid let's just put it this way. If you've seen the clips, you've seen the clips. I'm gonna go ahead and start it off with this article here. Spencer wrote this one, so we won't be reading it for very long here. But Doctor Who goes off the deep end with a whole lecture about pronouns and transgender people and male presenting, and even like, I'm being honest here, even like normie Doctor Who fans who haven't really been paying attention, who watched this, were like, what the hell is even this about? Like, why are we focusing an entire episode on this? So there was an episode of Doctor Who not too long ago that came out. Everyone saw it. The clips have been being presented online. It was very LGBTQ heavy. Let's just put it that way. There's trans characters. There was this whole argument about the gender of like alien life forms or like robots or something. I don't know. That this whole thing's just dumb here. But unfortunately, fans who hoped his return to the role of showrunner for the beloved series will rediscover its essential roots. But Russell T Davies instead decided to focus on the first episode of his special Doctor Who run on progressive lecturing and topics on gender ideology and a whole bunch of other nonsense. The episode entitled The Star Beast, well, this is from November 25th, so this is about a few days ago, but the latest adventure was filled with let me make sure here. David Tennant, the series icon, came back for this one, and it portrayed what's her name? Kathleen Tate, who was also back here as well. So they were bringing back people who know old Doctor Who fans, or at least be familiar here with as well. They introduced a character who I'm going to read this correctly. Hopefully this is correct here. Male to non-binary female presenting transgender daughter Rose, who's portrayed by actress Yasmin Finley, who I believe is a transgender person in real life. And notably, Rose's transgender identity was confirmed in the scene at the beginning of the episode. When Rose is mockingly catcalled for wearing a passing young men. And they said that, "Oi, Jason." They say, "You all right, Jason?" Say, "Good looking, Jason. Give us a kiss, Jay boy." Which transgender individual responds, imploring that this crazy age wrong, just leave it. Okay. But here's the scene here. I think I can. Did I pull this up? Damn, I actually didn't pull this up. I should have had it. No, it's here. I have it. But here's the scene, and I have another article that I want to bring up here, which kind of plays into this as well. But this is what people online saw, and they were like,
"What the hell is that
what
gnashing sound?"
It's someone's ASMRing their lunch.
It sounds like someone's licking the mic.
I
guarantee it's
bet
Rick
you it's
eating.
Rick. I bet
Yep.
you it's Rick. Yep. Like,
I'm hungry. I'm sorry.
Shut up.
Marky.
Mute your mic,
So mean.
dude. That is such a fucking pet peeve for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Some people like that. They go to sleep to that kind of thing.
I don't. I don't.
Good for them.
understand at
I'm a
all.
person who gets freaking homicidal tendencies from it.
They're called
Stop.
demons.
Stop. Yeah, get on with it.
Rick just wants to put Orange Hat in jail.
All right. Yeah, here's the scene.
You're assuming he as a pronoun.
Oh my god.
My chosen pronoun is the definite article. I am always the me.
Oh, I do that.
So, yeah,
Articles
this
aren't
is.
pronouns, by the way. So this guy would have failed English.
I want you guys to keep this in mind the next time you hear a bunch of writers on television complaining about them losing their jobs and losing their homes. So I just want you to go out here. And then I want you to read this little article from Screen Rant, because this just goes to show you the mentality behind this entire episode. The article here states, Doctor Who reveals the Doctor's true pronouns and gender after Jodie Whittaker's regeneration. So I guess they regenerated or something like this. You guys can explain this to me because I'm pretty sure that's what you guys are here for. But I'm just going to read what this article says. After leaving viewers uncertain about the power of the Doctor, the 60th anniversary special of Doctor Who finally reveals the Doctor's correct pronouns and hints at gender identity after Jodie Whittaker's regeneration. The Doctor, who was always presumed to be male due to the fact that male characters have played the Doctor, so I'm guessing before she joined a few years back, they've always been male. But more so, this character wore coiling and had a haircut that was considered traditionally masculine. However, this changed when the Doctor Who cast Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. Suddenly, after 54 years of one expectation, a woman played the Doctor who dressed the character in traditionally feminine clothing and a blonde bob hairstyle. So this is the setup of this article here. I know it's infuriating, but
traditionally feminine clothing, I disagree with that. The 13th Doctor outfit was not traditionally feminine, at least in my view.
I thought it was tomboyish, sort of.
The Doctor's gender. The Doctor's gender got even more confusing when the show surprised fans by making David Tennant the 14th Doctor of Doctor Who, and said if they moved on to actor, I'm not pronouncing that at all, but they could have introduced a new gender presentation and a set of pronouns because it's a new iteration of the Doctor. This iteration of the Doctor has already used he/him pronouns and was perceived as a man. Luckily, though, the Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, episode 1, The Star Beast, provides a better understanding of the Doctor's identity. Was this really what this whole episode was about? Trying to figure out the pronouns of the characters involved here? It's like this is what they wrote an entire episode about.
It felt like
pronouns.
Kill me.
Oh my god! Like literally,
I don't
it's
think
like
they wrote it. There are so many things about AI writing this stuff. I mean, like this just kind of screams it to me.
I mean,
who knows? They might have actually actual human might have thought this.
So Donna's meta crisis confirms that the Doctor is both man and woman, both now, because that makes sense. The Doctor and Donna conclude that Rose identifies as non-binary because the Doctor is a man, a woman, both and neither. Because that totally makes sense. This gender description is clearly aligns with a few identity labels. The Doctor definitely falls under the non-binary umbrella, a catch-all term for anyone who doesn't identify exclusively as a man or a woman, or as we like to call them here, mentally ill. So literally, this goes on a complete diatribe about gender fluidity and identity. I'm thinking to myself, like, what was the plot of this entire episode? This is the plot of the episode. Like, some people would say, like, hey, was that episode last night good? It's like, the acting was good, the action was good. Apparently they just spent like an hour rambling on about pronouns, and then this is the crap that they fed to us on a silver platter. I don't get this, but then again, I'm not Doctor Who fans, but I know you guys, at least 3 of you guys here, are Doctor Who fans, so I'll start this off with Pete. Explain to me what the hell any of this means and why the show is still on the air.
I love that, Jacob. You kind of you remind me of how I feel about wrestling. I think we're sharing a wavelength there. This is frustrating beyond. If you are a Doctor Who fan, this is basically like Last Jedi, but it's worse. And here's the key difference. When Last Jedi happens, you can always still say, well, this wasn't George Lucas's Star Wars, because George Lucas didn't make it. This is Disney. This is the handoff. This is someone else's problem. This is not the canon, right? The problem is they got Russell T Davies to come back, who's basically the father of the very well-beloved 2005 reboot of Doctor Who. And he is the one that wrote this. So this is like Last Jedi, but if George Lucas was at the helm and he lit the match. And that's kind of big reason why this is driving people crazy. They adapted a really well-beloved, almost 40-year-old comic from the Wilderness years, The Star Beast, which features the Meep. The Meep they actually handled, for the most part, pretty well, all things considered. Not perfect, but at least okay. And they kind of just took it apart so that they could focus for most of this episode. It's kind of very boring. Like, it's very by the numbers in the action department, but mostly it was just opportunities so they could bring David Tennant, by far the most popular current interpretation of the Doctor, and just dress him down, just attack him. Oh, he doesn't know the right pronouns. Why didn't he ask? Oh, he wouldn't know how to save the day. Obviously, this 15-year important plot point where he had to leave his best friend behind near the end of David Tennant's run because she had got some of his Time Lord alien superpowers. So she was smart, but if she stayed that way, she'd die. So he erased her memory, and it was like a tragic thing, right? It's like, this should never become, we should never go back to this. It should never be answered. 15 years later, we have Donna back. We have David Tennant back. Favorite two people together. They answer this. How do they answer it? They answer it by saying, you don't understand. The reason why the doctor couldn't figure this out, the answer to this, she just needed to let go, because men, male presenting, because we're with Disney, the BBC now, male presenting Time Lords obviously wouldn't be able to see the solution, because the solution is just letting go. Ironically, for a storyline that's bringing back, something from 15 years ago, and clearly they haven't. And I mean, this story, this episode has really PO'd people off that I haven't seen in nerd culture in a long time. Doctor Who fandom is big. It's not quite as big as Star Wars, comparable to Star Trek. But I've heard from a lot of friends who had given up on Doctor Who years ago, but they know I'm crazy and staying into it. And they're like, I heard that Doctor Who was coming back with David Tennant. I like that guy. Then I read this. I'm not going to try it. And I've heard that from a lot of people, friends, family members. And you could see it. You go on the Doctor Who social media. You can go to R Doctor Who, R Gallifrey on Reddit. About a third of people are being pretty blunt and honest, which is surprising. Those Reddits are usually pretty well controlled. I mean, just people are not having this. And of course, the media have spent this weekend, today and yesterday, saying how wonderful this is. Oh, it's always been this way. This has been planned for 15 years. And it's all sorts of ridiculousness, but they know, and we know, at the end of the day, people are not having it, and they're not happy with it. Because it wasn't just that they had a trans character or a gay character or a female character. Doctor Who has always had some of that, especially the new Who, but they weren't attacking the audience when they did it. And that's what's changed. And that's what's made people so angry. And foolishly, to bring back this new show, this is essentially a third reboot of Doctor Who. This is what they frontline it with. We need to get all these people to come back who are blew off the show because it sucked during Chibnall's era with Jodie Whittaker. So how are we going to bring them back? We're going to take everyone's favorite doctor. We're going to make him sit down, and we're going to mock him, and thereby mocking the audience. I mean, it's such an epic disaster of incredible proportions. I mean, it's impressive in its bombacity and hubris that they thought they could actually go ahead and do this. That no one was like, this doesn't seem wise. Maybe we'll make this the third special. Maybe not the first. No, this is what they decided to go with. And the fact that it was Russell T Davies, in fact, it was so many of these writers with long connections to the series, they're the ones that did this. It's just like, I mean, it's
Rick,
I haven't seen this reaction, Doctor Who.
Rick, you've been complaining
since 2017, at least.
Pete, I still do not understand why you and all these other New Who fans were absolutely convinced that bringing Russell T Davies back and bringing Bennett back was going to be the salvation of a show that had long been dead. You people, I'm sorry if I sound harsh, but you all had this very oddball, I dare say, kind of nutty idea that he was going to correct a ship that was already pretty much gone. I mean, why did you honestly think this? Davis has shown no evidence that he would disagree with how Chibnall sees the world, or even how Moffat sees the world. They all have turned Doctor Who into their own fan fiction. And you have embraced this idea. Yes, the first season was great. I love the first season. And then I watched the Tennant when he came back, and as I told you, Love and Monsters made me quit the show right then and there because it was just so horrible. It was just awful. It was insulting to the fans. It mocked them. And so I quit. So I never saw any of this Dr. Donna and all of that brouhaha. I came back for Matt Smith, gave it a second chance. And I would kind of disagree with you slightly. I think this is maybe the fourth reboot because they had the original, and then they had was it the pilot? Was it not Capaldi?
Yeah, Paul McGann.
Yeah, and they had Bill Potts, the gay character who kept talking about how gay she was ad nauseum to the point where it was annoying.
That was the last season Capaldi. Yep.
Yeah, and then they brought back her. They brought her in because her, she, the female doctor, had to be the greatest doctor of all time. And really, and you know what? We needed a female doctor because there had never been a female doctor. I mean, they couldn't bring back Romana. God forbid they could bring back Romana, who was actually better as a Time Lord than the Doctor was. But we had to have a female so that little girls could have a heroine to look up to. And you know what happened? So many people kept saying, "Oh, well, the rating's going to go up. We're going to start. We're actually going to start watching the show now because we finally have a female Doctor." I said at the very beginning of that season with her, you had to, the first few episodes were going to go high, but then watch what the rating for episode 6. That would be a true test because once the novelty wore off, then what would happen? Yeah, the show was awful. The episodes were terrible, and she came across as a deranged Matt Smith cosplayer who had no personality, and so I stopped watching it. I stopped watching it again after I gave her a whole season. But I'm just wondering, Pete, honestly, in your heart of hearts, what made you think bringing back Russell T Davies and David Tennant was anything other than a desperate ploy to get attention? Specifically, Tennant. Tennant should not have come back. They should have gone straight to Gatwa instead of going from Whitaker to Gatwa, because Tennant is supposed to play another character, but he's basically playing the 10th Doctor. He's not playing the 14th Doctor. That is already bad enough. They're mocking all of the fans by pretending that we're supposed to have this as another character. It's the same character. So honestly, in your heart of hearts, Pete, answer that question for me. Riddle me that. Why do you honestly think that Davies, who has shown no interest in altering the way the show was going to course correct and go away from the woke, go away from the politics of it, when he is part and parcel of the same mindset that Moffat had and that Chibnall had?
Some of this is obviously signal fires, smoke fires. I mean, it's sorry, smoke signals. So obviously a lot of this is trying to read into it. Several things. One, it's just the nature of RTD. He was a bit of a renegade even back in 2005. He was really pushing the edges. He had done a lot of work with people like Gareth Roberts. These are writers who are more progressive, but generally pretty protective of the canon. Gareth, unfortunately, got fired because he wasn't on board for the trans stuff. I mean, he worked in Doctor Who for decades and was openly gay when it was not popular at all. And he was outed as soon as all the stuff with Whitaker happened. He's not the only one this has happened to. When they were doing the rewatches during COVID, and they were asking the authors to come back and basically take a scalpel to their stories, he refused to do that. He wouldn't make the changes. Other writers did, but RTD didn't. He just kind of didn't quite ever fit with the cool kids crowd. And that my hope, and obviously it was always a long shot. I've never thought that it was like a near certainty, like this was definitely going to happen. But if anyone actually could be brave and push back and say, okay, we're going to have put some limitations here, where I was hoping, and others who were thinking similarly, maybe Russell T Davies would be the one to do it, because he'd been able to put his foot down and make some hard changes that are very unpopular to make in 2005 to get the show going. Now, obviously, I was wrong, but it doesn't. I mean, it's not destiny. Like, he could have made a different choice. He may actually know very much better, and he just decided to take the easier path.
No, I think
when this started, I mean, when this whole thing started, when they announced the BBC had no creative control, Disney was not yet into it, so it was just him and Bad Wolf Studios. That seemed to me like a much more likely option that could be taken. But when, of course, when everything started to change, when they brought in they made the deal with Disney, then which got the BBC back in for creative control. When we hear these weird whispers about what the leaks are, what's coming up, we hear more and more weird things getting closer and closer. The doubts, they rose with it. By the time I got the thing about disability, which was last week, then I was like, oh, this is not looking good.
When they decided that Davros could no longer be in his support chair because that would
and he made the comment. It was just a little video. He's the one that made the comment on the video. He didn't have to do that.
No,
so
because
I was like, oh, crap.
Again, look, first, I would have said that this show was dead when they gave in to the idea that, we needed to have a female Doctor. Rather than introduce Romana and have her appear as a character for a few episodes, spin her off into her own show, you would have had the female Time Lord, and you would have had old school fans like myself who love the character follow her adventures, probably more than the Doctor's adventures. But we needed to change it to a woman. Then you had to have this idea that she's not. I mean, she had to be like a black woman, because a lot of us joked during the time. I mean, once they changed it to a woman, the only thing they had to do was just make her black. And what happened? We saw that the pre-Hartnell Doctor was a black woman, of course, because women are the source of all wisdom and knowledge. That's why Kamala Harris will be the greatest president once Uncle Joe keels over. Hopefully not soon.
They always say that we need more black people. I mean, more black women on television. I'm at the point where it's like, I think we need less black women on television. I don't think black women need to see themselves on TV anymore.
For
we'll get
me,
to that later, man.
For me,
Real Housewives.
it was when they brought Tennant back, and I said, you know what? And Pete, you should have known this and recognized this. This was just a desperate ploy to get old school new Who fans who loved David Tennant's version and bring in, to have him back there. Why? There was no reason. There's no reason story-wise. There's no reason at all, other than what I think Jacob would call member berries. It's like, oh, you remember the feels that you got, and you remember how often you cried at all his episodes? Well, now you get a little taste of that, and look what happened. You end up with this. There are a lot of fans already angry about changing Davros. They should not have changed Davros and just make him like a generic Hitler-like figure who's just an evil white guy. There's nothing special about that. Now you've got this. This has poisoned the well, I think, beyond anything that the show can do. I mean, what's next? What's next? What are they going to do? They've already ridiculed the main character, and actually, I think you started ridiculing the character when River Song popped up. I hated that woman. I hated her. I despised her. I even called the show River Song with special guest star the Doctor, because he was a subservient character. She was always smarter than he was. Spoilers. I hated that. I hated her. I hated her so much that I refused to watch movies with Alex Kingston in it because I did not want that identification. But Pete, all of you new Who fans who really put the idea that Davies was going to be firm and change it, you all, I think, fail to understand that Davies sees the world the exact same way that Chibnall does, and the same way that Moffat does, and I presume the same way Tennant does. They all see it. A lot has changed since 2005, when the show was revived. A lot has changed in the culture, and Davies has gone along with it. And that includes having transgender, and they're all morally superior now, and the male presenting Doctor. He believes this, and I think what it is, one of the big issues here is how they're not subtle about it. People have been pointing out how in the past, like especially in the Pertwee era, you had all of these stories that talked about the Cold War and talked about the environment. All right, fine. But you know what? It worked because those writers understood allegory. You could look at the Silurians and just see it as a simple space, an alien invasion from the ground up. You don't have to see it necessarily as a story about detente. You can see Inferno and see that story as just a kind of time travel adventure in a parallel universe, not necessarily about the environment. You can see it on two levels. Here with the Star Beast, and granted, I've not seen the show ever since the end of her first season, because you always have to refer to her in a reverential tone. You can't criticize Jodie Whittaker or her version of the Doctor, because then you would be a sexist. So ever since that, yeah, ever since
I give
then,
you permission to be a sexist.
Oh, thank you. But ever since I stopped watching, my life has gotten better. But I knew that once this thing with Davros came up, they could only get worse, and it did get worse. What's an special? And then once Gatwa gets on, how is that going to improve? This has already driven so many fans, even the left-leaning fans that I know, absolutely hate it. It's driven them off.
Friend?
No, she's the only one who's still stuck by this. She's the only one who thought that every that every episode from her first season was perfect and brilliant. And she kept criticizing me. She kept saying, "Oh, stop showing your misogyny. Stop showing your misogyny for not liking her," even though her stories are awful. Though granted, not as bad as maybe Sleep No More, where
Well,
the villain in Sleep No More is Sleep Crust. That's just to show you how bad that show episode was. But
Cider, let me ask you this question. I know apparently you've had a couple of rants on this. So what's kind of your take on the whole Doctor Who debacle?
This is all just a pile of bitch-made nonsense. I mean, Russell T Davies was basically handed a blank check to misanderize without limit. If there was an editor and the editor had anything to say, they probably kicked him in the balls. You're not allowed to have opinions that go against the woke agenda. Then Disney walks in, drops a truckload of money on top of this agenda, and then says it has to be. You can't listen to whatever the BBC was using to protect the identity, what little was left of the brand identity. Now Disney's like, full bore, all the way into the agenda. And again, like, why do we have David Tennant coming back and pretending to be another character, even though he's got all the memories intact? It's like I explained earlier on the BIC YouTube channel. It's like you remember old CD players. You're riding around on the school bus, you're wherever you rode around, and then there was a pothole and the song skipped, right? The little laser thing. So all of a sudden, here comes the 10th Doctor poking back around like your CD skipped in your CD player on the pothole. Here's the 10th Doctor again for no reason. It's never been explained how this is possible. It's never happened in the past. There's no timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly bullshit in place here. This is quite literally the same asshole that was back in the 10th Doctor just showing up and being like, "Oh, I'm new, but not." It's complete bitch-made nonsense, front to back. Using the meep was just an excuse to cash in on the Baby Yoda bullshit. See, this is Disney. They knew what this stuff, stupid shit, big ears, fluffy, big eyes. There you go. Who cares if it's the thing from the 70s or 80s when the story came out? They don't. I see this all over Twitter, by the way, with this whole show. Baby Yoda looks weird in this one. It's all over the place. Nobody wanted this. Nobody enjoyed it. The trans community's even out there saying that this panders to them. The whole put a chick in it and make her gay thing, that's going around on the LGBTQ side on this.
Well, like I said, I think it's about subtlety, because it's like I said, it's so in your face now they can't even deny anymore that there's an agenda to it.
There is one question that I have, and probably for Pete more. I don't know, Cider, if you saw the episode. We had a complaint with Davros because we can't have him in a wheelchair. That's evil. So now we have in this episode a character in a wheelchair who can launch rockets out of her wheelchair, and she's the heroine. So am I to understand that people in wheelchairs are now like like Professor X? Is that how it all works?
Well, it wasn't even a tricked out one, Rick. That's the thing. It's like a regular old like
one.
Yeah, it was a regular old borrow it from the hospital ER room wheelchair, and it had all of these gizmos, man-slaying gadgets tucked away in like a half-inch of sheet metal. You know, that's it. Like at least in Steel, that movie with Shaquille O'Neal, where his like lady friend had the attack wheelchair, that actually was like one of those electric wheelchairs, and they showed the missile battery that she had installed on the side of it. They showed the little shockwave weapon coming up like one of those AM, FM radio antennas coming up and doing the thing. They made it look like a killer wheelchair instead of saying, yeah, whatever. It's all piping full of death.
I just kind of thought that clip was funny because all these people are like so anti-gun. It's like, oh, you just put missiles in your wheelchair. Okay.
Look, it should have been a warning when they decided to change Davros. It should have been a warning, actually, when they brought Tennant back, because there was no point to bringing him back. It wasn't like a story taking place in the past. And then you're asking the audience to say, oh, he's not playing the 10th Doctor. He's playing the 14th Doctor because he follows Whittaker, who was the 13th Doctor. That's idiotic. There's no one who believes that Tennant is a whole other character. They didn't even bother giving him a different personality just based on the clips that I've seen.
They didn't even give him a new hairstyle.
Yeah. And he's wearing the same outfit. It's the 10th Doctor, and that alone audience, the Who fans who have stuck with the show should really be just felt insulted that they're trying to pass off the 10th Doctor as something completely different. But now that we've got this episode where the male presenting Doctor is stupid, and had he stayed as Whittaker, she would have understood and everything would have been perfect. Where else can they go? What audience other than those who believe that trans is perfection? Where can they go? What show can they give Gatwa who's coming in? And when the show dies under his tenure, and it probably will, they'll say it's racism that killed it. Even though there's just nothing left. There's nothing left of the show.
Oh boy, what is this?
I think that's correct. I think what's going to happen is it doesn't matter how good these next two specials are. People are tuned out.
Even the universe can't bear to be without the Doctor.
Is it Jonathan Pryce?
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, this was a comedy special, or like a.
Emma, look. I've got etheric beam locators.
Darling bumps. Darling.
Yeah, that's the Mr. Bean special they did when they were trying to.
I was gonna say, isn't that Mr. Bean? Rowan
Atkinson? They couldn't decide what to do with the show, and so during this period, they did a really expensive comedic one-off with Rowan Atkinson.
This time,
that's cool.
It holds up pretty well. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
here's the thing.
It was well done.
This episode of Blackadder, or I guess Comic Relief, or whatever it was, this episode tracks almost exactly to what happened between the end of Capaldi and into Whittaker and now into that, because it loops back around to Rowan Atkinson being the Doctor after the Lady Doctor gets killed, after she marries the Master. So then he and the Master are in a gay relationship together, and Rowan Atkinson runs away on him.
They should never have changed the Master into the Mistress. That was
weird.
That was a testing
really
ground.
weird.
That was a testing ground to change the Doctor into a female.
Apparently.
Yes, and I guess again, as someone who loved Romana and who thinks she's like the second best companion of all time, I generally do not understand why they could not have given a show for her, unless the rights to the character were so hard to get. Instead, we need to have a female Doctor, because the new Who fans understand this, and this is something that I think that hopefully Pete Insider and other Who fans will learn to accept. New Who is not classic Who. They're not connected. They're two different things altogether. New Who has destroyed its own continuity within itself, let alone any continuity that came between 1963 to 1989. It doesn't make any sense internally. And they're trying to escape that with the wibbly wobbly, timely, whiny nonsense. But no, at a certain point, you have to have some form of logic. This show has no logic. You've changed the Doctor's
past die. Kill it if you have to.
Kill it as many times as Rory Williams has died on this show. That was a running gag.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I think I kept the Rory Williams death count, and it was terrible because we couldn't call him Rory Williams. He was always Rory Pond. They always referred to the Ponds, even though his last name was Williams. He was so wimpy. I think he died maybe 11 times during the course of the show.
Well, let me get Orange Hat's thoughts on this, because he's been stewing here for like 30 minutes listening to you guys. So, Orange Hat, try that to say something that the FBI will get attention for.
One, anybody who believes in this pronoun nonsense and the non-binaryism, you're delusional freaks. Two, whatever that thing was that calls itself Meep is a direct insult to the Roadrunner. Three, Doctor Who sucks. Always has, always will, and I have no fucking interest in it. Never will either. That's all I need to say.
That is the two.
Because if I say any more, the FBI will get on here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've heard people complain about the show for quite some time, especially over the last few years. And look, we've seen this. It's just an example of what entertainment has become now. They don't care about entertaining you. These shows aren't about entertaining you, making you laugh, or making you think, wow, that's a really good show. It's basically platforms to push their political agendas. That's all this stuff is. And Disney being involved definitely is going to assure that it's going to be politics over anything entertainment whatsoever. And like I said, it's a good thing maybe that Disney's losing so much money now that maybe they'll wake up. But then again, we're talking about Disney here, so they're not going to wake up. But
people are really upset, but they have a right to be upset, and that's what the people who are defending the show don't seem to get. It's like, why are you so mad? Well, because it attacked me. It attacked the people that like this show. Why should I watch a show if it's going to go out of its way to insult me? No one wants to do that. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity, political background. Doesn't matter. People don't want to be attacked. And you take something that's 60 years of legacy that's beautiful and wonderful and interesting, and you just shove it through the shredder, and then you're like, why aren't you happy?
I wonder why.
Like, what do you think was going to happen?
Again, it's always the same question. Who is the target audience? With this
you
episode,
know who the target audience is.
Well, in this case, yes. But
ideologues.
In this case, you have a series that is very beloved, has a very passionate fan base, but all sides, left and right, have hated this, because it's so obvious, it's so forced, it's condescending, it's misandrous, it's hateful, it's obnoxious, it's pompous, it's smug, and you have worked your way to alienate all but a very small core of fans, like my communist friend, who will love this and think this is great. But you can't make a successful show out of just such a small audience. You're pushing the audience away. Most people would just rather watch an adventure of an alien who travels with usually nubile female Earth companions, travel through time and space. But they're not going to want to watch any more of this if they're going to feel lectured and insulted and mocked, like Pete said. So, yeah, good luck to them. I haven't watched in many years. My life has been so much better since I stopped watching, and I'll stick with my Doctor Who DVDs from like the 60s and 70s rather than watch any of this nonsense.
I'll continue to watch Sanford and Son and Three's Company instead of this dog shit.
I'm rewatching Baywatch on Tubi right now, so that's what I'm watching.
I think I might even prefer watching and then there's Maude than watch this.
Well, let's jump over to another topic. This is kind of for the sports fans here, because something happened this week that really just highlights how much I hate basketball and why basketball is a dying sport in every aspect of the game here. Essentially, what happened here is that Gregg Popovich, who, if you guys don't know who Popovich is, he is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game, whether you like him or not. He's won 5 championships with the San Antonio Spurs. However, ever since Tim Duncan has retired, he's essentially become a washed-up old man. He's more known for complaining about Trump and Republicans during press conferences during the games, because there's nothing to talk about as far as his team goes anymore. He has the worst record in basketball so far this season at 3-14, and what happened was that they were playing at home against the LA Clippers, and Kawhi Leonard, who won, I think, the last championship for the Spurs years ago, he was shooting a free throw. People were booing him at the time. So in the middle of a basketball game, Gregg Popovich gets on the mic and literally yells at his home crowd, telling him to stop booing the opposing players. There is a video of this. Let me see if I can play it on here. This is on ESPN video, so hopefully I get to play the whole thing without like
boo louder.
Like that. So this is the clip right here. So I'll just play a little bit.
Leonard coming in average of 21. Had that Monday, 80% from the line of the season. And Kawhi with 8 points tonight, 3 of 5 from the floor. It is only 3.
Excuse me for a second.
Pops on the mic.
Stop all the booing, let these guys play. It's got no class. It's not who we are. Knock off the booing.
Boo him. What the fuck?
Yeah. Off Kawhi Leonard. But that's not San Antonio.
Well, I don't believe.
Who louder?
So literally in the middle of an NBA game, Popovich literally chastises his own fans, telling them to stop booing the opposing players. And it's like, is this what we've come to? Is this really where we're at now with basketball? Now, he was asked about this. He stood by his decision here. Let me pop this back up here for a second. So obviously he was asked about this after the game they lost, shockingly. It says that he believes that the Spurs fans booing Kawhi Leonard was hateful and mean-spirited, and the San Antonio coach has no regrets of taking the microphone and imploring the home crowd to knock it off. Absolutely not, he said after Friday's game before he played the Warriors. It's pretty easy to understand. I listened to it for a while. It just got louder and louder and uglier. I almost felt sorry for him. I was embarrassed for our city and for our organization, because this is not who we are. That's not how we conduct ourselves for the last 25 years. This is the opposite of the way that we have conducted ourselves and the way that we've worked in this community. He considers it a one-off with the fans' behavior. Hopefully this has become a recurring theme now, but this just goes for a much bigger problem here. Now, of course, Steve Kerr backed up Popovich by saying that, yeah, he doesn't believe that you should be able to boo fans who, not fans, but players who did great things for your organization beforehand. He says that booing should be selective. And I think that should be a general rule that if the guy helps you win their franchise a championship, that you shouldn't be booed in your building. Otherwise, it's fair game. So he's at least trying to back up Gregg Popovich here. But here's the problem. This is a big problem with the NBA. There's a big problem right now when it comes to players and now coaches versus the fans of the NBA, because we've talked about stories over the course of the last few months here where players have gotten into altercations with fans where they're getting them kicked out of basketball games. There's been fights. There's been people being thrown out for booing, for heckling and stuff like that. And these are fans who are paying a very, very expensive seats. These aren't cheap seats by any stretch of the imagination here. These are people who are blowing like $300-$400 to sit in these seats, depending on what city you're in. If you're sitting courtside, you're probably dropping a few grand just to sit next to a few. And they think that, well, you know, I paid my hard-earned money, I should be able to say, do whatever I want within reason. No one's saying go on the field or start throwing things at players or anything like that. But in terms of just general heckling and booing, if they're telling you, these multi-millionaires are telling you you can't do that now, there's a very, very big problem here. You're talking about players who are getting paid upwards to $40 to $50 million a year now in the NBA, and the league has essentially forced them to play regular season games because they want to take half the season off and not even play certain games. So imagine if you're like in, let's say, Charlotte, for instance, and the Lakers are coming to town, and you pay $300 for a seat because you want to see LeBron play live in person. And LeBron's like, it's against the Hornets, I don't need to play this game, I'm gonna sit out on the bench. Well, guess what? You've already spent your money, so tough shit to you. And now the coaches are getting on the intercom and essentially chastising you for booing the opposing team. Like this is what basketball is now. A lot of these sports are becoming fake and gay, just like pro wrestling. But like I said, Popovich, he's coaching the worst team in basketball right now. He's known for nothing except for whining about politics. He needs to just give it up. And this whole mentality in basketball is killing the sport. It really is. Like, if you watch any basketball game in the 90s or the 80s, what you're watching right now is not basketball. I'll just say very clearly there. But Rob, you're the sports guy here. I'll shoot this one over to you. What do you think about Gregg Popovich literally yelling at his own crowd because they're booing during games?
Yeah, it comes off as very entitled and out of touch with like the everyday fan, you know, and it's like they spend their hard-earned money. That's like that goes back to, I mean, if you really want to go there, the Roman Colosseum. You know how vicious those games were? Oh yeah, people died. So like, you know what I mean? Like this is kind of what, you know, modern day sports is. You're allowed to be loud and voice your opinion and cheer for your team, and like that's what it is to be engaged in at a live sporting event. I'm about to go to one, you know, this upcoming Sunday. So that's just part of that atmosphere. Gregg Popovich getting on the mic during a game, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, who do you think you are to basically tell your own fans that they can't express themselves, you know, when they paid money to be there, when they've supported the team through memorabilia purchases. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that these fans support this team, and this guy just comes off as completely disconnected from the average experience. So he's an annoying guy. I know that he's been very successful in his career, but he's a Hall of Fame coach. All of that, and all due respect, he sounds like just like an out of touch idiot. So he talks about Trump. He talks about, like, every time there's a shooting, he'll talk along with Steve Kerr. They're probably the two most vocal and annoying coaches on social issues. And it's just like, nobody wants to hear from you. You know, it's, if you've got an opinion on the pick and roll and its evolution in the NBA, that I'm sure that's a great topic. Otherwise, we don't really care.
Yeah. And like it said, out of all the sports leagues, a lot of people talk about the NFL and the whole kneeling thing and whatnot, but as far as just like purely woke politics in sports, the NBA has been the absolute worst out of any league. This is the same league who a handful of years ago, if you remember, I think it was the Jacob Blake situation, and it was, I don't know if it was Minnesota or Michigan, one of those two states, but that was the guy who went and tried to attack his baby mama and then got shot by a cop. He lived, by the way, but he just got shot. And as a result of this, the Milwaukee Bucks decided that they were going to cancel their playoff game with the Orlando Magic just so they can be in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and a criminal who got shot trying to beat up his ex-girlfriend. And like multiple teams canceled their games in solidarity of this. This is right in the height of the whole George Floyd situation. So this is the mentality of everyone in this league, from Adam Silver down to the coaches, down to the players. Like I said, it's just made it absolutely insufferable. Let alone if you're just watching a regular basketball game anymore, these guys don't even attempt to play defense anymore. I think if you look at probably the best defense in the league right now, like as far as like giving up points per game, I think the best defense in basketball is probably somewhere like 105 points. If you were giving up 105 points a game like 30 years ago, you probably won like 14 games that season, and that's considered the best defense in the league now. So it's like they're not even trying anymore.
Well, in the early 2000s, where you had teams like the Sixers, the Nets, the Pistons, especially in the Eastern Conference, they would hold teams to like 88, 85 points a game. And it's like, that is absolutely unheard of now. And this is why I've stopped watching the NBA. I did buy NBA 2K24 because I still like the NBA, you know, if it was actually, you know, if it was actual basketball being played. But they haven't played defense since they took away the hand check rule. It's why basketball was so much more competitive and exciting in the 90s. Even with Michael Jordan and the Bulls really dominating the landscape, you still had great players, great teams, a great series of competitions between, you know, those teams vying for a title, you know, and, you know, whether it's the Blazers, the Sonics, the Jazz, throughout the 90s were all really good teams. So, and you don't necessarily see that anymore. Players get paid more than they ever have, and the product is as worse as it's ever been, you know?
Yeah. And somebody noted a couple things. One, I do believe it is the somebody asked there's a team that's actually worse right now. I think the Detroit Pistons are technically worse by like a half game over San Antonio, but San Antonio, I believe, has the worst record in the Western Conference. And you want to see how bad and putrid the NBA is right now. The highest scoring team in the NBA at the moment is the Indiana Pacers, who are scoring 127 points a game in the NBA. Now, they are also the worst defense in the league right now because they're giving up 125 points a game. So
I don't know if you saw the one game, if it was last week or like 10 days ago, the two teams combined for over 300 points. And it was just like, okay, this is literally what's wrong with the game.
It didn't even go into like overtime. Like, this is what it is. Like, have you watched like the NBA All-Star game the last few years? It's like there's no attempt. Like they're not even trying like anymore. Like they don't try at all. I think they almost scored like 200 points like each team like individually. That's they just throw the ball up there. It's like, okay, well, this is it. Like there's no effort, there's no drive, there's no grit. It's just a completely soulless sport now, and all anyone cares about is their brand, making $50 million a year and complaining about whatever Republican they're getting paid to complain about. That's the NBA.
Well, you know, as someone who, you know, does not watch basketball, though I did go to a Mavs game a year or two ago, and I probably will go next year. I think that it's not just the fans. It's not that they're not booing because they just want to boo and irritate this coach. I understand that this player is the reason that they're upset and they're rightly booing, or they're booing because he did something to them. Is that correct?
So the story here is that Kawhi Leonard, I think it was mentioned in the chat earlier by Dobo Fett.
Yes.
Essentially, what happened was that he was with the Spurs for a few years. They didn't have a very good ending. He ended up leaving, going to Toronto, won a championship in Toronto. Since then, I think he's been on a couple of teams. He's with the Clippers now. He's been there for the last few years. Everyone keeps claiming that they're a super team, but they've literally never won anything in their entire lives. Like, they've never even been made it past the second round in the playoffs in their entire franchise history.
I think my understanding, and again, I come at this from someone who doesn't follow basketball at all. Remember, I did have to ask who this, Luga person was, because I had no idea and I couldn't pronounce his last name. I think the fans here feel perhaps a sense of betrayal, and they're angry, and so they're taking the opportunity. Popovich just going out there and scolding his own fan base like they were children is indicative of what he thinks of them. He thinks that these are children and they need to be spoken down to and lectured. This booing is part of the sport. Booing is part of every sport. And if this person had been well liked, he would have received applause. We see this a lot in baseball, where a player that's beloved gets traded to another team. When he comes back to his original team, he gets applause. He gets an ovation. This happened, I think, to Manny Machado in Baltimore, and it happened
Dansby Swanson, Freddie Freeman with the Braves.
Yes, it happened to Will Myers when he went back to San Diego. So if the fans like you, they'll still like you. If they don't like you, they'll boo you. But for the coach to go up there and talk to his fans like children, they're like, could we stop this booing? It's not high school. I could understand junior high or high school, the coach may be doing that. Maybe. But for all of these people who have spent, and some who are season seat holders, I presume, and who have spent a great deal of money, to have this old man basically do an old man shtick and just kind of wag his finger and scold all of these adults. I don't know why he thinks that. Oh yes. Oh well. This old man is going to tell me that I can't boo. I can't. It's not like they were protesting for Uyghur rights. So I don't know why he's so bent out of shape. He should have let them boo. It would have been fine. Once he finished the was it the free throws or the 3 points, whatever they're called, it would have ended and they would have gone on. The fact that he went up there and
One thing that
would have made it worse.
One thing I do respect from the San Antonio crowd is when Popovich tried to get him to stop booing, they just started booing louder. So there is a little bit of respect there. It's like, okay, at least the fans haven't completely gone bitch like all the other players involved in this whole thing have. So there's a little shed of hope for society.
Just like from the last story, you're needlessly antagonizing your fans to show off how virtuous you are.
Yeah.
Why do that?
And here's another just dumb story that I want to just cover real quick. Also aligned to sports. Did you hear about this whole thing with the Deadspin trying to get this 8-year-old kid canceled at the Chiefs and Raiders game? So there's literally an 8-year-old child who's there. It's the Chiefs and the Raiders. They're in Las Vegas. Chiefs won the game, shocker. And so they're showing this kid dressed up as the Chiefs mascot here, and he's wearing black and red face paint, right? So from this angle, it only looks like he's only wearing black face paint. So of course, this one guy saw this like 3-second clip on television and decided to make an entire think piece about it. And then of course afterwards, everyone was like, first of all, this kid's like 8 years old and he wasn't wearing blackface. He was wearing black and red face paint because he was a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. And then this guy decided to have a complete meltdown over this whole situation. So he wrote this article saying that the NFL needs to speak out against the Kansas City Chiefs fans in blackface and native headrest. Now keep in mind, they are the Chiefs. So he's literally complaining that this guy is already in his state's fan. But of course, and then you can tell here that they added the community notes to it. But there was a second video here said he was wearing half face and half painted red. And keep in mind, so the guy was most people who was watching this is like, the kid is just a fan of a team. Like, why are you being such a dick? Why do you care so much? So then the guy decided to double down, because this is what they always do, is double down. There was like, oh, you guys coming after me. You probably hate black people and Mexicans. I bet you guys wear sombreros or in the Cinco de Mayo. And it's like, what the hell does this have to do about the fact that you wrote a story trying to cancel an 8-year-old kid and got absolutely shit on by everyone on the internet about it? But yeah, I mean, this is what these people, this is what journalists these days get paid to do. I mean, I know it's deadspin at the end of the day, but I mean, it's like, what are we even going on here? Like, you don't see anyone whining about the fact that people are dressed up as pirates at the Raiders game, and oh, the Pirates, you're honoring people who raped and pillaged back in the day. It's like, it's football. Like, this is what we've done to sports.
Well, it takes a certain type of person to beat up on a child. Really, and
then double down.
Yeah, because this person is morally and intellectually superior to all of us. That's why, and we need his guidance and wisdom to make us better people. Real quick, when I went to the Royals game, it was May 5th, and I was unaware of what day it was until I started walking around, and all of these Royals fans had their sarapes and sombreros with little balls, and they started shouting Cinco de Mayo all over the place. I was a little confused, but then I realized, oh, it's May 5th. It is Cinco de Mayo. As the only Mexican in Kaufman that day, I was not offended. I did not think, oh, these people are, cultural appropriation. I thought they looked silly, and I didn't want them to drink and drive. But every time I would pass one of them, I would shout Cinco de Mayo, and they would shout back Cinco de Mayo. And I just said, you really don't know what that means, but that's okay. You all are having a good time. I'm happy for you. I'm not offended as a Mexican. I just don't want you to drink and drive, and you look ridiculous in your outfits, but I'm keeping that opinion to myself. This is the same thing. This kid was wearing the headdress and was in the colors of his favorite baseball team. I don't want to take that. Yeah, I don't want to. Oh, sorry, football, because I was still on the rolls.
You're good.
I don't want to take that away from him. He's a kid. He's having a good time. He's passionate about the sport. His parents, I presume, are fine with him doing this. And he was not doing this to be insulting. I always say it's context that matters. If he went out there and wanted to ridicule Native Americans or ridicule Black people, and he did that deliberately, that was one thing. But this is not the case. He was there supporting his team, doing what a lot of people do, painting this face and wearing the outfit of the team. It's harmless. He's enjoying it. Other people enjoy it. This one person, though, is so bent out of shape because he sees everything through the prism of race, and he sees himself as an oppressed person, even though he's probably wealthier than some of the fans who are there. It's mean. It's mean-spirited. It's arrogance. It's from this sense that, oh, I'm a minority. I can beat up on people who are not because of social justice and what have you. It's really bad. I don't think any person should beat up on a kid for being passionate about a particular team. And yes, anyone here on Cinco de Mayo, you guys dress up, celebrate, have tequilas if you want. I don't care. Just don't drink and drive. All right. That's the only thing I ask.
And it's more evidence that all this stuff, like social justice, is just it's mob rule is all it is. It's this shaming tact, and it's like, and all you can really do is say, fuck you. I'm not going to be shamed by a bunch of people who don't have a personality, who are offended on behalf of an entire group of people, which, by the way, as an idea is racist itself. You are literally offended on behalf of all people with this skin color. Go fuck yourself. Seriously. This kind of shit absolutely riles me up, because not only are you going after a kid, it's on the most intellectually disingenuous grounds. Do you see the photo? They showed one half of his fucking face. Yeah. As if, like, you're going to blatantly lie to people as if to generate clicks. It's really one of the most offensive things.
As if somehow millions of people didn't watch one of the most popular football teams, the Kansas City Chiefs right now, the defending champs, didn't watch that game and see that kid and realize that he wasn't in blackface to begin with.
But that goes to show it's all about the lies. It's all about the clicks. I mean, honestly, you know, we all know that this child probably didn't even think of any potential racist connotation behind how he was dressed. He was like, well, I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm supporting my team. I'm going all out because I'm going to this game. It was probably this awesome like moment for him because he got to go. I never went to an NFL game. And I've watched the NFL for a really long time. I could imagine being in his shoes and wanting to go all the way and rep the team, especially since they're a pretty decent team, mind you. And to actually go there and then like Rob said, be disingenuous in how you show how he was dressed by having just one side of his face that was painted black and not showing the other side. Not only are you a piece of shit, but you are a fucking retard in your own right. Like honestly, you know, if I have to go to bat for an 8-year-old, I will. Because at this point, it's like it is disgusting. Like you are a disgusting human being to be willing to potentially ruin this 8-year-old child's life over something so minuscule that clearly this child would have no idea, you know, had no idea that the way that he was dressed could be taken as such. This is just an innocent person. So yeah, you're a fucking retard for actually going there trying to ruin this child's life for clicks. Like how much of a fucking piece of shit do you have to be? And double, triple, quadruple down. Like go fuck yourself.
They don't want to admit that they're wrong. That's the issue. They're absolutely determined to prove that they're right, and they just keep digging and digging and digging and making a spectacle of themselves. But it's not just adults. Sorry to bring this real quick. Remember in the Rockies game when some old man was shouting for the mascot, Dinger, Dinger, and sports journalists, including one on MLB Network that I liked, heard something else and decided to call this poor old man out and call him a racist because
and then before they even heard it, they were like, "We need to find this guy's employer right now, get him fired from his job." And it's like he didn't even say what you guys thought he said.
Yeah, because of the way he said it, it might have, and I heard it, and it didn't sound that way. I mean, it sounded like Dinger.
Remember, not only did they try to get him fired, they were mad at everybody else around him because they didn't throw him out, even though they all heard that he didn't say the word that they all thought he heard in the first place. They were trying to get other people who had nothing to do with it in trouble as well.
Yeah, so I had my picture taken with this symbol of white supremacy when I was out there in actually in Albuquerque when they did an exhibition game. But you know, that poor old man, and now this poor kid, all of these sports journalists, the same ones who want to go on about the pride warm-up jerseys, the same ones who got the Kate Smith statue taken down at the Flyers because she sang a couple of questionable songs back in the 30s that were also sung by a black man. I mean, it's so irritating and idiotic. Oh, I don't know what to say anymore.
You know, just real quick, I just want to say real quick, one of my most terrifying like nightmares is a mob of people chasing after me and like beating me because they think I did something I didn't do. You know what I mean? And that I'm not saying that'll happen, but it's just like any of the stuff where people want to like go, you know, we need to get that person. It's like, just pump your brakes, find out what happened first. Maybe.
I'm honestly surprised it hasn't happened to you, Robert. Except for some of the things you said on Twitter.
Yeah.
My take on all of this, one, even if the kid's face was all black, it wouldn't have been blackface. Because blackface is a specific design that was meant for parodying back in the many earlier decades of the 1900s. However, if they are going to go down this rabbit hole with the whole blackface thing, where if you wear a little bit of blackface or a little bit of black paint over your face, and that's blackface, Joy Behar, Jimmy Kimmel, and a bunch of other fucking left-wing piece of shit liberal nut jobs are all fucking guilty of it. And this piece of shit writer who was going after a kid for being a fan of the fucking football team, saying, "Oh, you're a racist because you allowed this to happen, Chiefs," What the fuck is wrong with you? Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? You won't even call out when your own fucking politically aligned piece of shit friends do it. So you have no fucking leg to stand on. You're not racist race baiting racist piece of shit. You just want to freaking create some drama because 3 fucking people may have gotten offended in total, including your dumbass. And the fact that you went after a kid says it all. You communist fuck. Get a freaking life, and whatever freaking journalistic integrity you have, you honestly have no journalistic talent. So whatever publication is employing you, maybe they should fire your dumbass because you honestly have no freaking integrity, no talent. You're going after somebody you're knowingly lying about. I mean, you'd probably get Employee of the Month with the fucking Young Turks. I mean, you are seriously that much of a piece of shit for going after a fucking 8-year-old. Good God, man. And
by the way, I just want people
red and black. Those are my fucking high school colors. Red and black. Does that make me a fucking racist? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, not the red and black, but I mean, but anyway, so keep in mind, this is the same outlet, Deadspin here, who 3 years ago, a bunch of writers quit because they were told by their new editorial board, hey, can we just stick to sports? I mean, we are like a sports outlet. Can we just stick to sports and stop with all the commie crap? And most of their writers quit because they were told to stick to sports. So they're a sports outlet that doesn't even want to actually cover the damn games that they're covering in the first place. So
it's like ESPN. It's like ESPN. They didn't, they don't want to cover sports. They want to talk about their political views. And kind of drawing on Orange's point, it's not even journalism at this point. It's all advocacy. It's all basically political advocacy masquerading as journalism because they're not even reporting on the subject at hand. They're not interested in the Chiefs game unless Taylor Swift pops up. That's probably their only interest in the Chiefs. That and this poor kid who's just very passionate and just donned makeup, and for that he's being trashed.
Exactly. Well, I'll add on to that a little bit. I think it's political advocacy. That's like a front for I don't have any friends and I'm a terrible person. How do I meet other terrible people that will be my friend? So. I mean, if you think about like I've been thinking about this a while.
Advocacy, it's just fueling outrage culture.
Well, I mean, but like a lot of people today don't want to like there's a big complaint among the boomers about like the kids don't want to watch movies with sex in them and nudity and stuff. Rob knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
And it's like, but they want like more platonic friendships and like friends is their comfort food. And that's because like people today don't actually know how to make friends, and this is their way of like signaling to their tribal, like would be, like I guess comrades at this point. I think a lot of people are just really lonely, and they have political advocacy and stuff like this to pursue as like a substitute for legitimate meaning. Right? And that's why it takes on this kind of like religious fervor. They want somebody's blood or somebody's head or somebody's reputation. And that's just got to be the sacrifice.
Yes, it is. It is almost like what religion would fill in. You have your church friends and you have your association, and that's how you have a group of people. Here, this is what they worship. They worship their own sense of moral and intellectual superiority, and so they figure they have to convert people. That's why you have shows like Doctor Who nowadays. They have to convert you. That's why you have these advocates as journalists trying to show you the error of your ways so that you can repent and denounce your former self as a Chiefs fan, and maybe call for their name to be changed to something more, I guess, to their liking. I don't know what the
Kansas City Patty Cakers.
It's really weird how it's really weird how the less at peace you are, the more you need to change other people. Like,
well, it's just easier to change other people because you don't have to admit that you're wrong. So many people are so proud.
People are just stupid. That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah. Well, they take pride in their stupidity, which is worse.
Well, they take pride in a lot of things. Stupidity just happens to be one of the things on the list. But Let's hop over to our closer here before we wrap things up. Little Mermaid star Halle Bailey. Remember when Little Mermaid was a thing, and it was inspiring all the little black girls around the world because they finally saw someone on a TV screen that looked like them. Remember that the whole thing? Well,
I just remember the fights. I just remember the fights in the theaters.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There was more violence at the Little Mermaid than there was at the Joker, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So there's this story that came out last week, and it's been going back and forth here. So apparently she's pregnant with her baby daddy, not husband. I mean, I guess she's taking Keke Palmer's role here as far as bad life decisions. But there was a whole thing with a nail shop owner because somebody accused her of being a racist by somebody. I mean, her baby daddy here. Let's just go ahead and read the story as it's written here. DDG, who I'm assuming is a rapper, which you always want to get pregnant by rappers. They're known for taking great care of their children. DDG took social media to blast nail salon over an incident involving his girlfriend, baby mama, same thing, Halle Bailey. In a post, he claimed that the salon kicked out Halle during a manicure and told his followers to give the business 1 star for being racist. So he wrote on X this last week saying that this place is racist towards black people. They kicked my girlfriend out while they were doing while they were doing her nails. In addition, he sent a link to the salon's Yelp page and urged his followers to leave a negative review calling them racist. He says, please give them 1 star. They don't deserve business. This is all he did on his social media account here. Going down any further, when he initially posted the link, the salon had a 4.4 rating with 49 reviews. Afterwards, it plummeted to a 2.5, and then the page had racked up 115 reviews calling them racist and accusing the startup owner of racism. Many included that Bailey's rumored pregnancy, with commentators expressing outrage over her treatment. The store's Instagram page, which declares no politics, no skin color, no nationality, only nails in the bio. It plagued with negative feedback and accusations of racism due to his post. The salon responded on a comment saying that it's not true that the staff kicked Halle Bailey out. She was 35 minutes late, the salon claimed, and that they didn't take her. So apparently she had an appointment. She showed up a half hour late for it, and they didn't take her because she was outside of her appointment range. And of course, they responded by calling them a racist. This is according to their side of the story here. Haley's explanation says that according to her, she discovered a fantastic nail salon that she was eager for to join her. She scheduled an appointment at 3:10, informing the salon staff that she would arrive by 3 o'clock. However, she ended up arriving late. She clarified that she had informed the salon staff that Coley was suspected tardiness. Upon finding no one else at the salon, she believed that since that she had brought them business, that they should honor her appointment even though she was late for it. And respective, they decided to cancel her appointment since she didn't so she wouldn't consider getting her nails done there either. Then she goes on to talk about this on an Instagram story. I don't know how long this is, so if it's short, I'll play it.
So I'm driving, but I wanted to come on here and share what happened to me today. So what is it?
Okay, I've already told him I'm not listening to this whole thing.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Just real quick, finish up the story. The nail owner joined the video, presented her perspective of the whole situation. Said that the owner mentioned that Halle had arrived about 15 minutes past the scheduled time and had inquired about Chloe. Given Chloe's 20-minute delay, they were unable to accommodate her. In an emotional state, the owner tearfully conveyed that the challenges that she has faced due to negative reviews and threats against her on social media, expressing genuine fear, elaborating to the extent of her distress here. So you can see here, I believe this woman is pregnant too, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But she goes on and talks about this whole incident in detail. And yeah, I think that's kind of the whole thing. So pretty much what happened here is that there was some sort of nail appointment that she was supposed to show up for. She showed up anywhere between 30 minutes, like 20 to 30 minutes late for it. And I guess she got upset that the salon shop didn't accommodate her lateness. So of course her boyfriend makes it 1,000 times worse by accusing the shop owners of being racist because they wouldn't accommodate her appointment. And now she's getting death threats and a whole bunch of negative feedback, all because the boyfriend of the Little Mermaid star called her a racist on the social medias, and here we are. So, Cassie, I'll start this one off of you. You seem like a nail salon type of person. What do you think about this whole situation?
Wait,
What
is
do
she
you
Puerto
think?
Rican or because she's a tomboy? Because it could work both ways.
Whatever way works for you. I'll leave it ambiguous.
Oh, shit. But yeah, I think it's time for a rebrand with this salon shop, bro. I mean, this is just petty shit, but this is kind of like this unspoken of reality where if you deal with a celebrity and it happens to be something, a bad altercation, that celebrity could definitely ruin your livelihood, and um, it's obviously not right, especially since it seems like it just didn't work out for whatever reason. I mean, this is what happens to real people in the real world, except we can't bitch about it because nobody's gonna listen. This is Halle Bailey, and she has her boyfriend that has a following too. They could just yell that it's racism to a large conglomerate of fucking losers online that'll write all these these negative reviews and do all these malicious things. And yeah, it's just kind of a sad reality that people are just petty, man, all the time. You see it all the time. And, uh, I don't have that. I'm too lazy for all that, so can't relate. But yeah, it's time for the salon to rebrand.
Mm-hmm. Way to blow up the spot, as the kids here would like to say. But there's some other things going into the story I'll reveal to you guys in a bit here. But Rob, what's your take on this little story?
I'll be completely honest. It was a lot of like nonsense and okay. This is a story I normally would have no like take on, other than this chick being what the Little Mermaid. So it just sounds like somebody didn't get what they wanted and wanted to bitch about it, wanted to complain. And I don't know why it's a story for the most part, other than this lady's getting her business review bombed because a pretty famous person didn't get what they wanted. That seems to kind of be the simple view of the situation, but I have no fucking idea. I don't know if this girl's gonna have a career, but these things are probably just best to not be publicized for this reason.
Well, she is going to be in the Color Purple musical, so yeah,
Oh.
she is going to be, she is going to at least have one more movie coming out. Really, first DD whatever
DDG,
yeah, whatever TKY whatever. Anyway, he can't prove that this is racist. Other than that, I presume the owner's white and the client was black. That in itself is not proof of racism.
That's enough for most people. That's all the movie needs.
But that is idiotic, and all of whatever his fans, whatever this guy's fans, that they would willingly review bomb a business they have never been to, that they've never probably even heard of, at his command is very concerning to me. That this individual has that much sway among people that they will willingly go after a business that has not done them any harm. And he can't back up the idea of racism. Just
you want to see concerning? I'll give you a little bit of concerning. This is the guy in question here, and this is one of his Instagram videos. So this is who Halle Bailey, Little Mermaid star, shacked up with. I'll just play this video right here.
Shit, man, it's layers to this shit. Look, it's between my legs too. Too much money. I never just bum it. Same black pants, but I still got bands. You already know what it is, folks. No capper. You already know, nigga. I started getting money before I was a rapper.
Now, does that mean I don't? Now, does that mean I don't have to give him any reparations?
To answer your question, Rob, he's a rapper. Of course, he's a drug dealer.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm not giving him any reparations because, I mean, he already has more. He should be giving me reparations.
Yeah, he sure looks oppressed. Yeah.
This dude has reminded me of my irrational hatred towards $50 bills. I fucking cannot stand $50 bills. I demand you give me any fucking thing else. I don't want it.
What
Because
do
it's
you
like
have against Grant?
like
Grant?
it's not even Grant. It's just that like I may occasionally get them mixed up with the 20 and I know that, so then I just avoid the $50 bill at all costs. It's so rare when I get a $50 bill.
She said it was an irrational hatred.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, this whole thing with this, she did this, or she flipped her fucking wig because of her sister being late. It wasn't her being late, it was her sister being late. And this business, this pregnant woman, has a policy. If you're 15 minutes late, that's fine. Anything over 15 minutes, you have to reschedule. Because I'm running a business, there's back-to-back people. Sometimes they are going to arrive a little bit late, but you came here, you were even late for your thing, but you were 10 minutes late, so that's acceptable. This woman was simply running her business as she saw fit. And the fact Miss High and Mighty Bitch thinks that, star power, bitches, I should get what I want, and my sister should get what she wants because she's my sister. No, I'm sorry. That's not how the real world works, you fucking mermaid wannabe. It just doesn't fucking work that way. You got to understand that if you're freaking late or your sister is freaking late, they're going to have to reschedule. The woman even said, I'm thankful that they created business for us by bringing their entourage in, but they still have to abide by our schedule and they still have to make their own appointments. They have to be on time for them. If you are 15 minutes late, that's understandable. If you are 30 minutes late, I'm sorry, we're not going to serve you at the time that you said.
Well, you see, it's racist. It's racist to hold black people to the same standards of everyone else because you're not taking into account systematic oppression and blah 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 blah.
You have to remember that punctuality is a symbol of white supremacy that was already established. So obviously, we cannot hold black people in the same level. So they can show up whenever they want. Because if you ask them to show up on time, you're being a white supremacist.
Yeah, you see, if she wasn't a racist, she would have adjusted her appointment to color people time and would have scheduled the 40 minutes ahead of time beforehand. So yeah, that's all you need.
Nuke Dukem, I don't think that Halle Bailey is pregnant. It's this shop owner, or it's the salon owner that's pregnant.
Both of them were pregnant.
And not only that,
I've heard some stories that she's pregnant too. So
well,
I will say if she is pregnant, I can kind of understand what happened a little bit better. When I was pregnant,
not even that.
No. I mean, like, no. You just go insane, and I'm sorry, but like, if one of my policies as an adult, I mean, like, but one of my policies as an adult is that, like, if I have any like crisis and stuff, I don't get on social media. Like, because
I mean,
that just like it is like the mind virus at that point. It just goes and contaminates and all these other stupid people to do stuff that's stupid. Honestly, I can like, as a formerly pregnant person, yes, I have complained about stupid stuff with more tears than are appropriate for the situation, and like this would have made me very angry. And husband would have probably done his best to cheer me up, but again, no going on social media for this kind of stuff. So grow up, get off social media. And like, this is where you were like, okay, well, we need to reschedule then. Can we reschedule for tomorrow or something like that? I mean, there's no solving some things, but seriously, you could really try not to make it worse. So I can honestly see the boyfriend freaking out about this too, because it's his girlfriend, baby mama, and he's got to make her happy, and that's his job. So this is kind of lazy and a kind of stupid way to make her happy, though. So
DDG actually is very much in the wrong here, because one, this woman is pregnant. She's about to she's 9 months pregnant. It's very, very clear how far along she is. And she does not need that extra added stress that because she's already feeling that shit. And the thing is, if this dude's actions causes any sort of distress or damage to the child, I hope that fucking salon owner sues Mr. What's his name? DDG? Dumb dickless gangsta.
Here's the thing. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. I'm not sure if you guys saw this viral video, but it's well known that rappers do not care about the well-being of other people. There was this video going around earlier today where a fan tried to ask a rapper for an autograph outside the show, and his bodyguards decided to give him the 1-2, knocked him out cold on his feet. And then his other friend came on there, punched him in the head again, and then he literally had to be pulled off of trying to stomp him out while he was already unconscious. So there's like another lawsuit going there.
He had like a brain bleed from the assault.
Yeah. I was going to say Kate's comment is very true. It's like, look, if a celebrity tells you to do something like this and you have no evidence, like solid evidence or experience, you should not be doing this stuff. I mean, I have gotten 1-star reviews because of my books and my work and stuff before, and it's really irritating, but you just kind of got to let it go, you know. But I mean, I'm an older millennial now. I can let it go, you know. Younger people today, where it's all about them, and they have not realized that, hey, maybe your best days are behind you. Could be a real thing. They haven't.
Well, we're the same age, and I have not learned that lesson yet.
Well,
I'm getting better.
I mean, but your best days are only ahead, Rob, because you are going to write that book that I can read about.
And when I drop dead tomorrow of a heart attack, you'll regret saying that. But no.
I will miss you if you drop dead of a heart attack. I will miss my misanthropic millennial. I will say there's a reason why Rob can't let go of it and CS can, because she's a woman and Rob is male presenting. So obviously male presenting figures cannot let go of things. Female presenting people can let go of things.
If you have a heart attack tomorrow, I will go up to Pennsylvania and you can have my blood, so to get you through it. So transfusion.
We need another world war. That's what
we are getting another world war.
We'll get through it. You're not allowed to die without giving me the book to read, Rob. I will get that signed in blood too while I'm up there.
Yes, I'm always eager to see whom you trash on Twitter, Rob. That's one of the reasons I still stay there. I'll just say that I'm very concerned for things. First, the accusation that this was racially motivated. There's no proof of that. And the power that this person has to go after a business that he does not like and get all of his fans to go after a business. That's very distressing to me, that someone has that much sway to go after a business that, again, none of these people that left these 1-star reviews interacted with the business. They just did it because they were told to. That's very concerning to me. And the idea that just because you're black, that you automatically say, oh, it's racist, and that excuses any kind of behavior, that you can silence your critics, even the ones who have a legitimate reason to not serve you if they kept them waiting. They're running a business. They can't afford to stay open until you feel comfortable coming to do business with them. And then you can say, oh, it's racism. That's also very concerning to me. Although, to be fair, I've not used my Mexican privilege and said that any criticism of me is racist. Well, you know, I'll start using that. So anytime that any of you criticize me, it's obviously based because I'm Mexican.
Does this work in the reverse way? So, like, if you call me your favorite colonizer, does it?
Well, I don't know. I think cider might be my favorite colonizer.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Because he's male presenting. That's what it is.
I thought it was because he's from New England. That's what I was gonna say, but that works too, I guess.
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's not like many Mexicans would ever really want to go up to Maine. I mean, it's too far.
See?
It's too far from us.
It's too cold.
Yes, that too.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of white people who don't even want to go to Maine.
I was gonna say.
All right, then. Any final thoughts on this one before we wrap things up?
I wish people would stop calling stuff racist. It's a really lazy argument at this point. I mean, there is genuine racism in the world, obviously, but
I'm sorry. Are you expecting a better argument from the mumble rapper who sits in his car with weed and bags of cash?
you could at least say maybe she hated what's her face's performance in The Little Mermaid.
We need. There's
know.
a phrase. Okay, there's a phrase we need to bring back that I remember from the '90s. It was called the race card. You know, you're pulling the race card, meaning everything comes down to race. It's all about your skin color. That's you're not being an asshole. That's what we need to bring back. We need to bring back just throwing that out. If people want to say something's racist, it's like, okay, stop playing the race card.
Yeah.
Well,
we need to go back to telling people to piss off.
When they like I said, this is just alleged racism. It's not proven. It doesn't seem like it's there. You know, it's just you're hurting actual people, actual victims of actual racism, and you pull this kind of easy.
And then you have to start asking yourself, it's like, how many instances of actual racism it really is there nowadays? Because we just hear too much about the fake versions of racism, or just the instance of racism where, oh, this person is white and that person is black, so it must have been something racist involved. Like, that's pretty much the overwhelming majority of the instance that we hear here. More the Jussie Smollett stories of the world than any actual forms of racism.
I was going to say, if people today don't travel that much anymore, but I mean, I can tell you, America's statistically speaking the least racist nation in the world. So
I'll just say that, my experiences in Charleston, South Carolina, I was treated so well, despite being Mexican. I received nothing but Southern hospitality. So I have no complaints. I've never felt any overt racism anywhere that I've been to in these glorious states. Though who knows? Maybe when I go to Atlanta, I'll probably get the cold shoulder from Jacob anyway when I'm there. So,
well, look, I'll put it this way: I go to a Southern Baptist church in a Republican neighborhood, so technically, I should be dead if America was as racist as everyone claims that it is. So,
I mean, I'm just happy to live in a country where racism is deemed as bad. Unfortunately, because that is a reality, people abuse that, because there are plenty of other countries in the world where being racist is just literally a part of their culture. Sad to say.
One of my best friends is Japanese, and he can't marry outside his race. His parents won't let him.
Aww. But again, look, we've had this story and the story of that poor kid. Both of the accusers are trying to mask their anger behind, it's racist, it's racially motivated. It's not the case in either of these cases that it's racist or racially motivated. All of these false accusations make it inevitably harder when there are genuine cases of racism. And again, if you guys, I'm not offended by any Cinco de Mayo, just don't drink and drive. But this person really should consider suing TDK or DDT or whatever he calls himself.
That's like libel or defamation, right?
Well, it is intentionally trying to harm a business here. There probably is some kind of legal recourse, and I hope both babies. If Halle Bailey is pregnant, I wish her the best. Yeah. Well, whatever the legal standards, I defer to Orange Hat on this, but I hope both babies turn out fine. If Halle Bailey is pregnant, I wish her all the best. Although I would have picked a better baby daddy. I don't know, but that's just me. Yes, Cider?
Yeah. Is Cinco de Mayo the one you get boobies for beads?
No, that's Mardi Gras. That's Mardi Gras.
Okay, sorry. I get my south of the border taco holidays mixed up. So
well, that's actually New Orleans. That's New Orleans.
Oh, okay. So that's not. But south of the Mason-Dixon for me. So
yes, although if you go to Rio, maybe they do that. They have Carnaval.
I don't think you need beads. I think you need money for boobies in Rio. That usually.
I don't know, but no, that's Mardi Gras. That's something else. That's
yes, the only thing that foreigners want from you when you're in their country is your money. Yes,
exactly. And sometimes you get boobies for it.
Or the boobs or your foreign women. That's pretty much it. So
give me your boobs or your wallet.
Either or is fine. I'm not picky.
Answer to the question: no, I'm 100% Mexican. You know, all about the raza. You know, I'm sure if I walk through East LA, I just blend in so well.
Orale, Holmes.
That's right. Ese Holmes, que barrio ese.
Yeah, we're ending the show. Let's go ahead and get a chance to fill what you got coming up here. Orange Chat, what do you got coming up, my man?
Well, next month is debatable themes or debatable Christmas movie theme streams. Movies that are or that generate debate on whether or not they are Christmas movies, like Die Hard, First Blood, and them. Wednesdays or Thursdays, my friend Mara and I are later in the month doing ones and twos and singles. We're going to be doing ones and twos with Gremlins 1 and 2, and singles are going to be Krampus and Violent Night. Sundays are going to be Tolkien Sundays again. We're going to be doing the Hobbit trilogy this time, extended editions. And I'm just going to be trying to get content out for you all on my channel. I'm still trying to get the 4,000 hours. I got 700 more to go, so just watch my stuff if you can. Thank you.
All right, then jumping over to our good buddy Cider. I'm pretty sure you got plenty of projects you'd like to tell the fans about. What you got coming up?
I do the videos on bounding now. So yeah. And then over on bounding, we're gonna try something new tomorrow. It's called the 0-1 stream. We're gonna give that a try. So that's the same time the black pill would occupy. Hopefully everybody involved can make it. If not, we'll see what happens. But we're gonna give 0-1 a try tomorrow, and hopefully you folks will tune in for it. It's 9 p.m. over on the Bounding Into Comics channel.
No dang streams.
That's up and down at the moment. JDA's got like IRL stuff, kids and whatnot. So I can't guarantee if there'll be one tomorrow or not.
Oh, okay.
0-1 sounds like you're pulling off a Matrix.
Well, it's sort of. It's the numerology. 0-1 is it's in numerology. It's like the leader. So this is basically the ambiance of the 0-1 stream is that rather than where the black pill was like highlighting the bad ideas and screw ups in media, we're just gonna blow it up with a laser.
Nice.
Space.
That's kind of like what they did in the Animatrix with 0-1.
I was thinking like 0 Hour, the movie that
Sure.
fired Airplane. So that's what I was thinking.
All the zeros. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of zeros, Johnson, what do you got coming up?
Damn it.
Well, since my YouTube channel was terminated, come follow me on Substack now.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I don't care, but I didn't get on the last few weeks because I was, quietly mourning it. So
How the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want anybody fussing about it though, because I don't want them to like
You hear that, Spencer? Write an article on Bounding about how C.S. Johnson got booted off of YouTube for no good reason whatsoever.
Well, I just think it's funny because the other week you were saying that like I'm the only other person that you could have on the stream.
Yeah. Little did he
Alright.
know that the woman card came to play.
Yep. Rob, you're next. What you got coming up, my friend?
Yep. So I'm just finishing up the month of November in terms of movie watching with film noir. Kind of getting tapped out at this point. But I am coming close to hitting 1,000 movies watched for the year. But I'm pretty soon I'm going to pivot to 2023 movies because I have to compile the best and worst of the year. And I'm only up to like 50 movies watched for 2023 so far. That came out this year. And as it says at the bottom there, I'm heading to Nashville, Tennessee this weekend, see the Titans and Colts.
Oh, that's really good actually that you're going there because they're actually known for their cardiology. If you're gonna have that.
Okay, great. Yeah. The heart attack happens tomorrow before I leave on Friday, so I got time. But look, yeah, I'm just looking forward to being a tourist and trying some hot chicken and barbecue and being really lame. So yeah.
Are you still on Letterboxd at the moment?
Yes, I'm on Letterboxd. But just go to my Twitter, which is the only thing I advertise when I'm on here, because that's where I spend most of my time. I'm also watching the entire Twilight Zone and pretty much tweeting about every episode into season 2 now. So you can check that on there as well. But it's just general movie stuff and pop culture stuff. And I bitch occasionally about how Israel is, committing war crimes. But anyway,
occasionally.
Well, yeah, you're definitely not going to be allowed on the Scream franchise moving forward. So there we go. There, Rick, what do you got coming up?
Well, I've just got my reviews.
Hey, puto! There she is, man. There's a bitch. Son of a bitch, she cheating, man. Hey, bitch. No homeboy for her tonight, man. Bitch.
You know that Canadian is probably more authentically Chicano than I am. That's the sad part. Yeah, I've got my reviews and I've got my haikus, and I also am going to try to work through all the screeners and online screeners. And real quick, if I can grab it, I just got my annual box.
Don't strain yourself.
I got my annual box for more screeners, including Ferrari, which I'm something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm just trying to work through all the screeners. It's a lot. So just more reviews, more haikus, and I also will have to work on a best and worst list. Although not having seen Dix the musical, my worst film has not changed.
Well, when you see Dix the musical, your list.
I will not watch Dix the musical. No, I don't even think my gay best friend would want to see it, and he didn't want to see Bros either. So just throwing that out there.
It's. I think I'm being legit here. It's actually worse than Bros. So,
damn.
That's saying a lot, and that's saying a lot. Yeah. Cassie, end it.
What?
Cult Classic Cage on YouTube, Twitter, Kick, uploaded a video talking about how the major award show for video games doesn't even understand what the fucking indie game is, and got to Two for Feels podcast this Thursday. So yeah, definitely tune in for that and hang out with me if you're into video games.
You do look like a poker player right now. Like all you need is like the shades going on right now, and you look like you have at least an ace jack. So there you go.
Hell yeah.
Poker bomber.
The poker bomber. All right, what do we got coming up? This Friday, we're going to be reviewing the new Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1. So we're going to do a review on that one Friday at 10 p.m. for that show. Monday night is the next episode of the Bible Lens podcast. Check out last night's episode. If we finished up our series on Calvinism. Now we're going to talk about the warnings against believing dreams and visions over biblical scripture. And we'll talk about why that's a bad thing. Couple announcements based on that. In 2 weeks, hopefully, John Trent will join us on the Bible Lens podcast, because we want to have a little discussion about the Catholic and Protestant views of Mary. And that should be a very interesting debate, or it can be a complete shit show. So who knows? It could be one or the other, but hopefully he joins us in a couple of weeks for that one. And then in the beginning of 2024, I will make a second channel specifically for Bible-related content. That way I'll have all of the society entertainment stuff here on this channel, and then all the Bible and stuff on the other channel. So I will be looking to splitting those two channels 2024 as well. So look out for that next coming weeks. And then, like I said, next Tuesday we'll be back here once again talking about the news of the week. So quick little shout out. Oh, one more thing before I head out there. Somebody said that they had sent me an email. Yeah, if you want to send me an email regarding anything, there is a one in the description below that should be for society reviews at outlook.com. If you want to send me about any inquiries there, send the emails there so I can actually see them. So yeah, anything you have, send it to that email address. So until then, I want to thank everyone who joined us here tonight. I know Pete had to bounce out a little bit earlier because he was feeling a bit beat up. So shout out to Pete. Hopefully he'll be back here soon. Shout out to everyone who joined us tonight. I know there's a lot of people to run through here, so I'll just try to get through as much as I quickly can. Doba Fett, Neozoic, who else we got here? Duke Nukem, Kate, obviously, Eddie Brock, who was here with us the most of the night. Alex versus Evil, Drax the Clown, Top Dog, Cactus Jones, Vanya joining us earlier in the show, DK joining us. Osnot was here for a little bit as well. I want to make sure I get everyone. Make sure Eddie Ice, give a shout out to you as well. And Mephisto joined us for a little bit as well. MSK, who's on his own show at the moment, going live too. A shout out to him. Spencer, Josh, Rooftop Korean, and anyone else and everyone else who joined us on our show. Shout out to you. Thank you for you guys for joining us here tonight. We're going to go ahead and hit the outro and get on out of here. So good night. Adios. We'll see you Friday night for Godzilla, Monday night for the Bible Wins, and then next Tuesday night right here for the same show. Adios. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It'd be funny if I just didn't play the intro, just ended the show, but no, I'm playing the intro.
It's over.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Go home.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Okay.
Get out! Get out!
You get the hell out!
Never mind who you thought I was. I'm Rick James, bitch.